Hello, everybody, Wild Rift fans, Copa America fans. Welcome to our English broadcast once again of the MGA Wild Rift Copa America. We're heading in to the most hype matches of the tournament. We've got the finals here in the lower bracket going into the grand finals of the entire North American and Latin America North division today. The first match, as you may have seen on your screens, is coming up. It's going to be Team Celestial versus Brawl Stars Pros. They're in the losers bracket finals here, fighting for the right to face Tribe Gaming, who are waiting in the grand finals of the entire tournament. I am Vespor, providing some commentary today, joined, of course, by Moose once again. Moose, are you ready for some really hype Wild Rift matches here in the Copa America today?
Oh my goodness. I am such a fan of set matches. I'm such a fan of being able to see some really good opportunities from these players to be able to get into a best of three series to potentially get themselves moving forward throughout the bracket and to get that grand prize opportunity. Just a little bit of clarification though, just to make sure, we are going into the losers semifinals matchup. Team Celestial versus Brawl Star Pros, going to be in a best of three series to face off against 420 to be able to potentially then go up against the against Tribe Gaming, who has secured the spot in grand finals already. So potentially going to be 9 total matches here today in the bracket. I think that would be a ton of fun to see players get into a best of three series. We saw Celestial and Brawl Stars last week. They were both able to get some really good wins, some solid victories in their best of ones moving forward throughout the bracket. They had, saw Brawl Stars had a little bit of a loser's run. I think fell out of the winners bracket, very early on, and has been able to get all the way to the loser semis. Celestials a little bit further into the bracket, trying to be able to keep going and potentially secure themselves this win, get themselves that chance for that third place prize. Because the difference between third place and fourth place rather big. It's rather important. So these players in this big matchup in this best of three series gonna be a ton of fun for sure.
Absolutely, yeah, and I'm receiving word that we should be heading to the lobby pretty soon here, getting into draft. And thank you for the correction on that. As you can see, the bracket on your screen hopefully made it clearer for everybody as well. So a little bit more of a journey here before these teams can get all the way up to Tribe Gaming. But certainly, it's a big challenge. We've gotten a chance to see most of these teams in action, as certainly Tribe, as we said in previous broadcasts, generally a favorite in these events and have looked really, really dominant so far.
Oh yeah.
But I think all these teams have had some really nice performances, and certainly to have made it this far is pretty impressive. But as you said, and I echo this 100%, now that we get into these best of threes, it's kind of a whole different beast, and it's a lot more fun to watch because you do have the question of, adaptation coming in. I mean, teams talk about this all the time, how when you're looking at a best of one series, or a best of one game, rather, that anything can happen in one individual game. Sometimes it comes down to one or two individual mistakes. And once you have the whole series, I think teams generally like this because you do get more of an idea of how good the team is. And maybe if you have one slip up, you get a chance to correct. And you do get that chance, as I mentioned earlier, that the adaptation chance, the fact that I think it makes drafts really interesting too, because how many times have we seen some crazy pick come in, or, some pocket pick, or just something that's really powerful, and teams have to pivot and adjust, ban that out, or maybe pick it away and stuff like that. I'm really eager to see some of that stuff develop and how that plays into our matches today.
Yeah, and I want to point something out real quick. Just something to keep in mind. Brawl Star Pros and Team Celestials, they actually faced off against each other here in the first round of the winners bracket, with Celestials being able to take that victory and moving forward into the second round. They then faced off against Tribe, who is the current winners bracket champion here today. So looking at the bracket, you got Brawl Stars up against Celestials. Brawl Stars did fall short in that best of one series in the winners bracket. Celestials just coming right back in to the losers bracket right after him, falling short to Tribe. So, looking at that, the bracket really showing that both of these teams have a lot of potential. Brawl Stars had to win 1, 2, 3, 4 games in the losers bracket to get to this point. Celestials had to win 1, 2, 3 games to be able to get to this point, and they had to go up against some tough teams. We saw Celestials had to go up against Mayhem. Mayhem is a really strong team. Wasn't able to take the win against 420, but is going to be looking to potentially move forward, or Celestials was able to take that win against them and then is moving forward into the bracket. We saw Brawl Stars with a really good game against Timbers, who tried to bite off, I think, more than they could chew in that one matchup that we saw yesterday or on Saturday last week. And so with all that being said, with Brawl Stars and Celestials really trying to battle it out here, this is a little bit of revenge potentially for Brawl Stars, or a little bit of confirmation that Celestials is the better coordinated, the better skilled, and just the outright better team. And they've got 3 games. They got to win 2 of them to make that happen. It's going to be a really fun matchup. It's going to be a really fun game and a fun day for sure. Looks like we are about ready to get into the game. Looks like we are about ready to start up the bracket. But remember, whoever wins this game, it's a best of 3 series. They have to face off against 420 Gaming. That's going to be the losers finals matchup. And then whoever wins that one goes up against Tribe. And, you know, with Tribe being as strong as they have been so far in this tournament, and just in general in the Wild Rift scene, anytime that a team is able to get a win against them, I think that that's going to be a really strong performance. We'll see if any one of these teams is able to get a win off a Tribe. It would be, I think, you know, a decent upset if any one of them is able to make it happen, but we got a long way to go before that is actually going to be the case, and we're going to be ready to jump into this game now momentarily.
Yeah, we got the draft on your screens right now, so already a lot of bans coming through and a lot of picks coming through. The first thing that jumps out to me about this draft as we're seeing it go through, no Galio picks just yet. I think Galio and champions that can be paired with them effectively have been a really central part of a lot of the games that we've seen today, and the Seraphine as well seemed to drop off a little bit in popularity as we got a little bit further into the tournament, but was so successful early on, so I'm kind of curious how things will change. We are also on a new patch to some degree. Some of the new items and itemization changes and such like that may come into play here, but both these teams building some pretty interesting comps. I'm excited to see the Aurelia once again. We got to see, I think, just one Aurelia that we've seen at least live here in our broadcast of the tournament so far. Didn't work out super well, but it's always really fun to watch, and I'm really happy that we're getting to see some of these champions. And looking at AD carries as well, Kaisa usually showing up repeatedly, slipping through the net this time. The Zaya is somebody we've seen that can be good against some of the dive, and the Varus is the response here from Celestials, as we will actually be loading into the Rift here, so I'm happy we'll be getting into some action real quickly today.
Yeah, I know. I like the pick, you know, pairing the Zaya with the Rakan. You're going to be able to get the charms coming in along with the Featherstorm to be able to get those roots and that massive damage as we move into the mid game. Looking over at Celestial's lineup, a ton of poke. A ton of poke damage coming in from Vars with the piercing arrow. We got the Janna to be able to keep him safe. And then the Aurelia, the Gragas, the Vi, they're going to be able to engage whenever they like once the Vars is able to kind of soften them up a little bit, get them a little bit more soft boiled before they go in for the perfect scramble there. But we're going to see if they're going to be able to make that happen, though. You got a Camille coming in from Proxer, and you've got Crazy Cat Kid playing as the Wukong. Now, Crazy Cat Kid had a phenomenal game as the Rengar the last time that we saw him. He's going to be picking up the Wukong, a little bit more team fight oriented. There's going to be multiple knockups available to potentially keep Hideous alive to be able to get that damage through. And it's going to be boiling down to whether or not the engage from both of these teams is going to be effective. It's going to be a fun one for sure. We are now into the Rift. Looking at runes, Airy Guardian, Conqueror, Aftershock, Conqueror coming in for Celestials. Nothing crazy there. We've got, oh gosh, I'm like losing my eyesight here. What is that keystone on Lost Boy? Is that Guardian or is that
I believe that is Guardian, yeah.
I'm falling apart. The older I get, the worse my eyesight becomes. And so they just look like a green blob to me. But it looks like Fleet Footwear coming in from Proxer, Conqueror coming in from Crazy Cat Kid and Hideous, and then Osu with that Electrocute. So nothing crazy so far starting off the match. As we get into the first couple of waves coming through, always important to get that first early gold.
Yeah, I'm really curious how this bot lane is going to play out, because you certainly got the engage potential from the Rakan, but Janna, of course, so good at mitigating that. A lot of the games we've seen have had a lot of bot lane focus and or mid lane focus. In fact, something that was coming big that was banned away was the Twisted Fate. So I wonder how teams will adapt to that. Without a Galio or a Twisted Fate, there's not so much opportunity for you to make these big cross-map plays. So instead, I think it places more pressure on the individual laners, and I wonder if both these teams are just confident that they are going to be able to outlane. In particular, looking at something like the Aurelia versus the Orianna, you can see already the Aurelia getting pushed in a lot. So the Orianna, this is major priority here, going to Brawl Stars. I think they should be able to get this Scuttle Crab.
Oh yeah, and that's, you said it correctly. You've got amazing priority coming in from Brawl Stars. That was really good coming in from Osu. He knew the timing on that Scuttle Crab. And then on top of that, Proxer just having a little bit of extra advantage against Monarch. I mean, that's going to be, I think, kind of a guarantee there. It is going to be Brawl Stars picking up the Scuttle Crab in the bottom lane. As it does look like we get a knock up on a Corey GG. Gonna be just fine, however. Extra movement speed going to be coming in clutch. We get the root gonna come through. Gonna be a lot of damage onto both BS and onto Hideous, but neither one of them going to be able to take a kill just yet. As we move into the 2.5-minute mark, it is double Scuttle for Brawl Stars. So that was a really good pickup there. Great priority coming in from Osu on the Orianna to be able to continue to keep the pressure going. He does end up getting the first back and the first buy. But the big part of that is that they got those Scuttle Crabs.
Yeah, and kind of surprisingly, I mean, the gold is dead even. So I think a testament to just the CSing and laning of Team Celestial, that they're keeping that even despite the double Scuttle. But it can be more than that. You've got the vision control. It also is talking about the jungle advantage as well, especially early game. Both these teams looking at Crazy Cat Kid in particular. You mentioned the Rengar. I think he's somebody that can exert a ton of pressure from the jungle. So I'm curious how much that will play in looking at the gold here. I mean, he's actually down gold against the Vi, so it's pretty interesting. I think the bot... No, if I remember correctly, the bot Scuttle did go to the bot lane, so that explains some of that if we look at... although, so we do see a slight gold lead there for the Xayah for Hideous, so that's something, but still no summoners burned. I think both these teams pretty content to play things slow for the time being. They got a whole best-of-3 series ahead of them. Don't want to be the ones to make the first mistake here. Level 5 for both top laners. We'll have to see. Ooh, the Ignite goes down.
Yep, a little bit of damage into the explosive cask. Proxer's gonna barely survive, using the hookshot to get away. That's gonna be a lot used in that engagement. And then in the middle lane, Osu is going to use his flash and barrier to face off against what is that? Maui Uwu playing as the Aurelia. So a good engagement there, nicely done coming through. As we do get the play of the Ruin King picked up, gonna be able to have that buy a little bit first. But with that big summoner spell being taken away from Osu, he's gonna have a little bit less potential to be able to reposition himself in this potential dragon fight. Brawl Stars is there first. It is an Ocean Drake. Proxer is in the area, and it does look like Celestials wants to fight for this one. This could be a major team fight coming in. 3,000 health on the Ocean Drake. The Piercing Arrow is going to come through, and the team fight is now about to begin. A lot of damage coming in onto Osu, who doesn't have that flash, doesn't have the barrier. Shockwave is going to be used, but it doesn't get much. The Thunderstorm is going to come through for Hideous to try to be able to get away. But we are going to be seeing Osu barely able to survive. Eric EX is going to be able to go down. The Vi will end up dying. Proxer will die at the bottom side river. No one gets the dragons. The piercing arrows come through, but no one with enough damage to get anyone dying just yet. Maui trying to be able to get a kill onto Osu. Will be able to make it a 2-for-1 in favor of... But Brawl Stars, that's going to be a kill to be able to secure the kill on to the Aurelia. And now Monarch is on the way, gonna get the Ignite into a huge body slam into the explosive cask. Hideous still survives. The piercing arrow coming through. It's gonna be OGBS finishing the job.
Wow.
Everyone but Lost Boy top going down for Brawl Stars. And Eric EX is back to be able to get the dragon.
Absolute insanity. I gotta shout out you, Moose, for casting that. Wow. Excellent performance, and what a fight. Absolute chaos. The fight breaks into 3 parts. Here we go again, mid lane.
Oh, trying to be able to continue to keep it going. Mally trying to be able to get out, uses the Vanguard's edge, and he's gonna try to find a way to get the double kill, and does secure the double kill. This is non-stop action. Celestials now up by 1,500 gold. They want to try to get the Scuttle Crab too, but it is not gonna happen. It's just gonna be Vault Breaker getting away, and so Brawl Stars might be in position to go for the Rift Herald now. Looks like they will be trying to go for it. I don't think Celestials wants to fight this one with Monarch in the bottom lane. But man, an explosive couple of minutes there here in this matchup for sure.
Absolute insanity. Just chaos. We have another fight here. The Vault Breaker being charged up. They're going in on Osu.
Oh no, it's gonna be Assault and Battery. Osu does not have Flash, uses it, and the barrier gonna come in. It's Redemption coming through as we get a little bit more damage coming in from Mally, trying to be able to get the Rift Herald, but it will end up being Crazy Cat Kid picking that up. The Cyclone into the Monsoon to be able to deny the extra knock-up ability. Featherstorm's gonna come in. Crazy Cat Kid's gonna go down. It's gonna be Eric X still alive. Now Monarch is on the way. The body slam into nothing. Doesn't use the explosive cast, but it will be the piercing arrow coming in from BS to be able to secure the kill on to the Rakan. Oh my goodness, what a fight.
Yeah, this is absolute chaos. I jinxed it by saying this is going to be slow early game. Instantly, everything just explodes. Every single ultimate just being thrown down on cooldown. Both these teams have really nice 5v5s, and they're both making use of it. At the end of the day, it's Team Celestials that just keep coming out on top here. You can see they're only up, though, like 1.5k gold, 9-6 kill score. Absolute insanity. I think just in like 2 or 3 minutes there, we've had 15 kills, which is just, yeah, I don't know how to describe it. I mean, there's few words for it. It's hard to say what it means at the end of the day, beyond just Rift Herald secured, Drake secured, but this is still anybody's game here in game number 1. I love that both these teams are ready to fight here. They're ready to go again.
Yep, and it looks like we're just going to be seeing a little bit of back and forth. Executioner's Calling going to be picked up by Eric EX to be able to get that little bit of a healing reduction. Lost Point not going to be able to use those shieldings a little bit much. Osu going to be a little bit tough for that one. And the Blade of the Ruined King's not going to get as much health back as well. Broxer does go down to, I believe that was Mally in the bottom lane. So that's a nice 1v1 there. As both teams try to be able to continue to keep up the momentum, the Rift Herald is still available for Crazy Cat Kid to use at any moment. He could potentially use it to knock down the tower in the mid lane. He is in the bottom lane right now, going to be pushing out the tower and the wave that was there because of Mally being able to get that solo kill. But looking at items, I mean, the gold lead, a little bit an advantage actually for Monarch playing onto the Gragas. He has had a lot of potential, a lot of, you know, I don't want to say involvement because he's 1-1-1, but he is still 800 gold in the lead against Proxer playing as the Camille. 3-1-3 Hideous is usually really good because it means that he's going to be able to get that early second item. That Infinity Edge is already very close to being on the way. Mally Uwu, I mean, playing really strong right now. Going to try to be able to get away. Flash not going to be able to get out of that one. But yeah, you know, so far, a really good back and forth battle. Neither team getting a huge advantage just yet with the Infernal Drake about to spawn. You kind of see it again there. And just kind of overextending, it looks like, and just getting knocked up from the nice engagement coming in from Lost Boy, the exhaust getting used in that fight. But yeah, 10 seconds remaining. Rift Herald's going to get spawned, so that'll be first tower picked off by Brawl Stars. And with 5 seconds remaining until the dragon spawns, I don't know if this is a fight that Celestial wants to take.
Yeah, it looks like they're pretty much just abandoning that, and I like that. You know, you can look for something else here. It looks like they're looking to get mid lane push. They have top side, their jungler there, just smacking down that turret. Not sure what the HP is at. If they're, it looks pretty low. Might be able to get it on this next wave, I think, especially Vi, fairly effective at that. But about 15 seconds away from that Rift Herald spawn, or excuse me, from Baron spawning, might be the next target of these two teams. They are going to equalize the Drake score, so that's generally what I like to see in a macro level, is just looking to trade out, recognizing, you know, you can see all the wards that Brawl Stars have in there. They don't really have any control of that Dragon Pit, so they just swap it out there. But you mentioned as well the Camille having a really rough time there, getting maybe a little bit something back with that kill in the Aurelia. Although, here we go. Oh, and just as I say, the pick onto the Janna. So Baron's up. Oh, man, BS. Yeah, if they got the Varus there, that might be Baron. They're still pinging. Here we go.
Uh-oh, Mally gonna try to go up against Uwu, or Osu will be able to get that one to go down, but now Mally gonna try to be able to get out, will not be able to do so, so it is ended up being a 2-for-1 in the extended engagement.
Yeah, you can see just walking right over a ward here, and shout out to Lost Boy, who's been on point with the knockups. I think finding the Aurelia earlier and then finding the Janna there, that's going to be huge for them, because both these teams have shown such a willingness to fight. I think it's going to be really hard a lot of time to secure any objective that's contested, although credit to Team Celestial for not fighting over that Drake. I think I was actually kind of surprised about that with how explosive this game has been recently. But now, Brawl Stars playing around, they got a couple of those picks. They are now up 2-1 in turrets. They now have a slight gold lead and actually have recovered from that slight deficit there. So Brawl Stars playing this one out pretty well. I think, gotta watch out Proxy. Yep. Got the hook shot, so he's always gonna be able to get away with that. I am curious with how aggressive Team Celestials have, if some more of those picks are going to come through. And certainly I have my eyes on Lost Boy in particular with the ability to catch somebody out. And I think they're utilizing the Hextech ultimatum from Proxer really well too. You mentioned the Camille not having a great time in this lane, but she still has the utility of that ultimate. If they have a man advantage, being able to lock somebody down in a side lane is a really good tool for them, and they might be able to kind of parlay that into another Drake or even potentially a Baron. So that's what I have my eyes on, is probably that duo of Proxer and Lost Boy, if they can find some more picks here, or if we just have another all-out chaotic team fight that breaks down into 3 different fronts. Who knows?
All right, the Chain of Corruption actually going to land on the clone there. That's a big ultimate, not going to be available for OGBS moving forward. Crazy Cat Kid does have a Guardian Angel available, but the mid lane tower does still stand. And now with Celestials, you know, they've got this like potential 5v5 team. They need to do what they did in that first team fight and find the poke damage from OG to be able to get these these red team members, especially Osu, especially Lost Boy, maybe even Hideous, to be able to potentially pick up, you know, a little bit of extra damage, try to be able to secure a little bit less health so that Mally can go in and get the resets using her Blade Surge and then, you know, the Vanguard's Edge and all that fun stuff. And so that's going to be a big part of this matchup. Oh, something that we want to point out, though, is the Chain of Corruption does miss again. It's going to be Eric EX trying to come through. Will he be able to get out of this one? He does end up having to use Flash. A beautiful Vanguard's Edge, and it's not going to be enough, however. Mally's going to try to go down, but it will end up being Osu and the red team picking up Mally Uwu in a very tough engagement there. Nice use of the ultimate, but Mally goes down, is down for 30 seconds, and the red team looking to potentially posture for a Baron or potentially a River Bamboozle. Corey GG, what are you doing? That is a bamboozle if I've ever seen one. Monarch going to be able to get away using that flash, but disastrous there. Corey GG, you're just a weak little wind lady. You're going to end up going down in the river immediately, and you take OGBS down with you. That's going to be the blue team now trying to be able to pick up maybe a kill here at Baron. Red team is going to disengage off of it. The red team trying to be able to potentially keep it from respawning and getting that health back. So no one gets the Baron. That's huge. Nicely done coming in from Celestials. And as you can see there, right, you saw the little bit of an extra engage, moving a little bit too far forward there, coming in from Corey GG. But the big part of that one is that Celestials denied Brawl Stars the Baron.
Yeah, you know, I love that. I talked about looking for a pick with Lost Boy, with Proctor. It's exactly what they did. And I love the mind games going on here because OGBS on the Varus, you talked about the poke is so huge with the lethality Varus. It's actually really effective if a team is starting Baron because they're already having the resistances shredded, taking damage, then the Varus poke comes in. It's so good. OGBS and Celestials know that, so that's why they're walking in there, because they think they're on the Baron. They have to poke them off. Of course, Brawl Stars know that, so they're saying, okay, we'll just wait. We know Varus is going to try to come in and focus off the Baron. It's exactly what they do. However, although they did get the 2 picks, they don't wind up getting the Baron because it was a nice counterattack re-engagement there from Celestials. But this game is so cool. I love it for our first game of the day. It's so back and forth here as that turret's going to go down. Chains of Corruption shouldn't find anybody, I don't think, here. A lot of stuns going through. So, yeah, again, I really want to see these picks that can come through with the Camille, with the Rakan. It's huge, and it can set up these objectives. But they're going to need to do it again this time, and they're going to have to watch out for something like the Varus poking them down, especially if they go for this drag that's going to be coming up here. I mean, Celestials are the ones with 2 Drakes, so they've been the ones more with their eyes towards the Dragon Pit, but the poke potential from the Varus, and even just the ability, something like the Aurelia, when you're in more confined spaces, I feel like it's even better. It's a little bit easier to land the Vanguard's Edge sometimes. And Mally, I swear we saw in the mid lane, the mechanics are absolutely there in the Aurelia. The problem is sometimes the decision-making, diving there under the turret mid lane, exhaust comes down, just really feels bad, man, at that point. You know, and you're going for the highlight plan, it doesn't happen, but Mally is going to have some more opportunities in this series, I know, and I think that's what I'm looking at for Team Celestials, is some poke coming through from the Varus, and I think it is on the Aurelia to carry these fights.
Yeah, and it is going to be on the Aurelia. I think you bring up the biggest point there is that it's Maliuwu that's going to have to play exceptionally well moving into the 20-minute mark if we do get to that point. Hideous has been the gold leader for a majority of the game, 4-1-8, 13,000 gold. He's 2,000 or 1,000 gold in the lead against OGBS. Want to point out as well that it ended up being Eric EX picking up the second dragon of the game. It is a mountain drake, so those resistances are going to be there for those ever important team fights. So it's 2-1 dragons. Baron is spawning. It's going to be a Cloud Soul Elder Dragon going to be available for them as Crazy Cat Kid trying to be able to get away, just uses the clone to be just fine. And I do want to make a clarification here because I do apologize about that. Shout out to our production team being able to catch this. Blue team is Brawl Stars. Blue team is the Brawl Stars. Celestials is going to be the red side. And so keep that in mind. Celestial on the red team, Brawl Stars on the blue. As we move forward, we might say it incorrectly again in the bracket. I apologize for the inconvenience. But yeah, blue team right now, just want to make sure blue team is Brawl Stars. Red team is Celestials. Blue team is the team that is on the back burner right now. 1,600 gold in the deficit right now, trying to be able to stay in this game. And they're being just fine. They're doing the work. They've got the split push coming in from Mali. He does have teleport ready to go if
They're on the
we
Baron.
do end up seeing Celestials try to go for the Baron. And you do see them trying to go for that. Osu's coming in as we get Assault and Battery trying to come through.
Ooh.
But it will end up being a good smite coming in from Crazy Cat Kid as there's a lot of damage coming in on Eric EX. He's going to try to be able to survive, will not be able to do so. Maliu is going to be caught up in the X-Tech Ultimatum, will not be able to get out of that one as we do get the use of the Guardian Angel. Mali is teleported in. It's going to be Jana going down. A lot of damage, but not enough. And that's 5 members of Brawl Stars going down. Celestials
They got
gonna
the Baron.
pick up the ace. They have the Baron.
That could
and
be
they're
game.
moving forward. They are going for the game best. You're absolutely right. 30 seconds until the next major player respawns. Vesperger, disastrous for Celestials in this contest. It will end up being the red team. Celestials picking up game 1. Wow, what an amazing final fight.
Yeah, so Mali teleports in here, and it looks like the nice setup for the Aurelia, but again, the exhaust goes down there, and it's so key. The ultimatum as well, just isolating the Aurelia in this fight. So on the other hand, all you've got is a poke Varus, and who else in this fight? It's amazing. The mechanics coming through the team fighting here from Celestials was just picture perfect. No one even dying there. I have to shout out to Lost Boy again on the Rakan. It's been on point with the exhaust, on point with the CC. He dove into the backline there and made sure everyone was charmed up. It disrupted this fight so much when you've got Aurelia on the one side and then nobody else really is able to do consistent damage in these fights. I mean, you look, the Yomus, this is a poke Varus. It's going to be so effective at these slower, long-range fights, but when it just gets jumped on by a Wukong and by a Rakan, there's not a lot he can do there. And I think heads-up play by Mali to teleport in, and I think justifiably the SVP there for Mali on the Aurelia. I really liked some of the moves. So excited to watch this champion, but overall, I think Celestials playing those team fights really well, and some of those picks they found were so good to help swing the momentum to them. Like I talked about, the big brain plays, knowing the Varus probably has to walk in on us because he thinks we're on the Baron, so that's exactly how they're able to set up the pick on that. And that didn't actually get them the Baron right away, but they eventually get the Baron. And actually, it's kind of funny, right when we correct the mixed up sides there, immediately Team Celestials turns it on. Like, that's just what they were waiting for, to be correctly identified as being ahead. And then they just smash the game in one giant picture perfect team fight. It was a very, very impressive performance from them, and such a back and forth game as well, such a bloody game. It really makes me excited for us to jump into game 2 of the series too.
Yeah, and that was really good. I mean, once we started with that first dragon fight and we saw Brawl Stars get into a little bit of an early lead, they were able to get that first dragon. They ended up picking up a second dragon as well, but it ended up being Celestials just with the better engagement, the better movement throughout the rift to be able to get those good picks, to be able to get that good engagements, to be able to give Hideous that 6-1 and 11 set score. That is huge. And the big thing that I want to point out here, I think, in terms of Brawl Stars lineup that I think really needed to be worked on. I think the Varus pick was incorrect. That's going to be, I think, the bottom line here. When you've got an Aurelia, when you've got a Gragas, when you've got a Vi, which are all really good engage champions, and then you go in for a poke damage champion like Varus at the end of that with the poke, there's just not enough poke damage that is able to help assist that to be able to continue to keep up with it. There was never a point in the game, maybe in that first fight at Dragon, but there was never a point in the game in that early state or in the early stages where we saw Brawl Stars being able to use that effectively. They just didn't have enough poke damage, and so they went in for the engagements. There was just still enough health ready to go for Celestials to be able to hammer them down in the 5v5. So at the end of the day, I mean, they didn't play poorly. Like, they played really well, and that's really exciting to see because it means that we're going to get a really fun best of 3 series coming through. Celestials does have the advantage 1-0 moving forward in game number 2, looking to sweep against Brawl Stars in this next bracket game. And we're going to take a little bit of a break, maybe. The game is going to start momentarily. But yeah, regardless, Vest, really good start to the show, and I'm excited to see what happens here in the next game.
Absolutely. Yeah, you talked about the poke Varus. I wouldn't be surprised if we see something like that swapped out. I always like the Ezreal because you got the opportunity to escape with the Arcane Shift and join the fights a little bit. Ezreal, I think, works a little bit better. You could also just go for the on-hit Varus as well. But adaptations, this is what we're talking about in a series. There's always the opportunity to make changes here. They're only down 1 game, but now it is match point for Celestials. If they take game number 2, they're headed on to face 420, in the losers bracket finals. But we've got a series on our hands that looks really exciting. If game 1 tells us anything, we are indeed going to jump to a quick break here, but we'll be right back with game number 2. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back, everybody. It was a very quick break indeed. We are here into the draft phase already for Celestials versus Brawl Stars. Hey, have to imagine as a viewer, that's pretty nice, right? I mean, well, not if you went to go get something to drink or anything like that, but you can come back in the draft. It's the draft. You can miss a couple picks in the draft, but if you are here, we'll try to illuminate some of the picks here. So the Gragas and the Rakan banned away. I do like the Rakan ban in particular. I think against Lost Boy, he seems so comfortable on the pick and can be so disruptive in those fights. And the Lucian coming in now was banned away earlier. Now it's left open. Meanwhile, the Wukong Camille coming through. So it looks like... if I'm not mistaken here with so Brawl Stars, yeah, are going to be taking away I gotta orientate my brain with the right side, the right size here. Yeah, we are correct now. Yeah, so coming through with the Camille Wukong, so stealing that away. So a lot of adaptations coming through. At the end of the day, this is 4 champions denied from Celestials, so really forcing them to take a different approach here, show us a different look.
Yeah, and so, you know, the Ziggs is banned out by both teams. Gragas, Rakan, Corki, Jarvan, all going to be taken away. Camille's going to be picked up by Monarch. He played a decent game plan as the Gragas, had some really good explosive casks. He's going to be a lane bully facing off against another lane bully, and Proxer playing as the Renekton. And Proxer, I mean, shout out to Proxer, still being valuable in these fights in that last game. Despite having a weak early game, he was able to find a way to move forward, and he was able to get back on track and push in a really good game here for Celestials moving forward. And so OGBS, he's feeling confident in the Varus pick. Now against the Lulu Lucian, a little bit less engagey coming in from Celestials. Lulu is going to have that wild growth to potentially stop any potential assassinations, but you know, the Varus is going to be a little bit safer with the Senna being able to use her and the Mist to be able to get away. Has a root, has the extra ultimate damage to come, extra ultimate damage and shielding to come in. But whenever we look at a lot of CC, which 1, 2, 3, 4 members of Brawl Stars has, you gotta think what is going to be the response from Celestials, and it's a very easy Olaf coming through, but I can't even talk about that. Mali Uwu, he is laying it all out on the line, gonna be picking up the Katarina here in this game. I actually think that this could work out really well if Corey and Eric are able to coordinate effectively to be able to get the multi-man CC, to be able to get the knock-up, to be able to get the root. Katarina's going to be able to use that Death Lotus to be able to get a lot of damage onto multiple members of Celestial's team. The only downside to that, Vest, is you've got a Braum, a Renekton, and a Lulu with all hard CC ready to stop you from putting in that damage. It's all going to be boiling down to execution here in game number 2.
Yeah, there is so much to dive into. I don't know if we're going to have time. I love the Katarina pick, and you're right. I think it could be huge. I am curious to see how Corey GG does pilot things. One of the things worth noting is we've got a lot of swapping around here. This time, Corey GG is piloting the Varus. OGBS has got the Senna. And looking even further, the Lulu is coming through and the Braum coming in. So I believe that's going to be Lulu mid there against the Katarina. Yeah. There is so much to dissect here. I think I am really curious how Corey GG is going to itemize on the Varus. I feel like this might be an on-hit angle because there's so much AD here for Brawl Stars. I think they got to be worried about the armor stacking. That's exactly what Team Celestials did last time. It's one of the reasons that the Varus was not having as big of an effect because champions like Wukong were going Guardian Angel and Thornmail. Huge amount of armor against lethality. The lethality is just not even going to put a dent into that. So I'm curious, the itemization that comes through it could play a big factor here. Already some really interesting lane assignments, though. We've got the Lucian Braum going mid here. Renekton is sitting bot lane against the duo from Brawl Stars. Lulu is top against the Camille. This is very, very interesting. I wonder how pre-planned this is. It's just a level 1 that they like. We saw 1 or 2 real goofy level 1 lane assignments coming through early in the tournament. Looks like the swaps are slowly going to come through. Oh, and they changed their mind, actually. So they're trying to fake it. I don't know if you can make sense of this, Moose. This is very, very interesting. And wow, even the Ignite went down top lane. They're going hard already.
So here's the play. Celestials went in and they picked up the red buff away from Eric EX on the Wukong. Wukong did pick it up, so he was able to get away, as it does look like Osu going to be able to survive, has to use heal to be able to get out of that one. But because they dedicated 4 members over to that top side, and they wanted to be able to make sure that Proxer could defend their red buff, instead they made sure that there was someone in the top lane that could potentially go up against Monarch. And, you know, whenever you get a ranged champion against a melee champion, just regardless, it's League 101, the ranged champion's always going to have a nice time. And we're seeing that right now. We're seeing some really good performance coming through. Proxer are going to be able to get a little bit of damage, but Eric EX trying to do some counter jungling himself. This is a weak side Proxer playing on the Renekton, but he's going to be just fine. He has enough healing, he has enough CC, he's got enough, you know, defense to be able to survive this one, but maybe a 3v3 is not in the cards right now. All they want to do is just try to be able to keep Proxer alive. Hideous is now in the area.
It's a party.
Top is out there. Maliu Wu is going to come through. Eric EX is going to be in a bad position, but the Death Lotus going to come in, but the beautiful flashes from Hideous and Proxer are going to keep them alive. No one's going down, but Mali is going to end up dying. Crazy Cat Kid's going to pick up first blood. Beautiful flashes coming in from Proxer. Really good barrier coming in from Hideous, along with a relentless pursuit to be able to get away. This is a crazy limit test game for Celestials, and it's just begun.
That is so interesting. So I don't know if you saw there, Eric actually failed his flash over the wall here, but because there was a Senna camouflaging him, Celestials had no idea. They assumed he got out, even though it was a 1 HP Wukong with no clone sitting in the Krugs, but they didn't know it was there. It's like the old Korean flash tactic. So you see the engage coming in here. He uses the clone, and then right here, this should be a dead Wukong, right? They don't know that he's there. They hit him with 1 arrow at the end. But amazing that nobody dies in that fight. And then, yeah, so at the end of the day, the 1 kill comes through. But here we have another one. Okay.
Yep, Osu's going to go down. Eric EX is now going to be in a bad spot. Crazy Cat Kid has the Ragnarok. It's going to be the colon coming through, but it's not going to do much of anything there, as we do get a root potentially coming in. Glacial Fissure going to come through as we get Crazy Cat Kid survived, and the Death Load is not going to be enough. It will end up being Hideous being able to pick up that kill.
Man.
OGPS trying to be able to make it a 2-for-1. No, he doesn't. Hideous with the play.
Wow.
Oh my goodness, taking down the wife in the marital discourse here in this game. Oh man, nicely done coming in from Celestials. Now 5-1 in kills.
Man, this is a statement game from Celestials. More action earlier on than game number 1. I think they have the confidence this time around. Mally had the confidence too on the Katarina going in on that, but what an outplay there by Hideous and Lost Boy as well on the Braum. Stacking the stun, flashes away into the pit, and here we could have a pick coming. Okay, he's gonna get out. He's gonna get out. They get the flash out of the leash, but this Drake, they might look to contest here. I think they're gonna start a fight. They're looking to go in.
Yep, Maliuwu's going to be in a bad spot. Corey GG trying to be able to get out, and it's going to be stolen away. Crazy Cat Kid with a beautiful smite going to be able to take that one down. Lulu will die, but it is a 1-for-1. The Death Lotus is going to come in, and finally we get Maliuwu picking up a beautiful use of that Death Lotus. It's going to be 3 members of Celestials going down, but it's 2 members of Brawl Stars and the Dragon. The Colling's coming through. The Fissure is not going to be available. Corey GG is going to die, and it's going to end up being Hideous trying to be able to get the kill onto OGBS. Not going to be able to get it to happen. Dawning Shadow's going to come through. Hookshot is going to be there. Monarch trying to be able to get the kill onto Hideous, but it's not going to happen as Osu now gets knocked up. Is going to try to be able to get away. Wild Growth is going to be able to be there as we get a stun on Eric EX. Eric EX will go down. Glacial Fissure is going to be able to get the stun onto Maliuwu, but now he is back, and he gets a full charge on that Death Lotus, and we'll get the resets. It's another triple kill for the red team Brawl Stars. Maliuwu finally going to be able to get things going. As the Ragnarok comes in, he won't be able to get that last little bit of damage onto Mally. Wow, what a fight.
This is why you watch Wild Rift. Absolute insanity, man. The outplay's coming through. Mally saw the Penta. The Penta was right there, so close. I think it's only because the Lost Boy here running interference, trying to get the stun stacked up there, which they do at the very end. That Lucian Braum combo just barely enough to survive. I thought the arrow was going to finish him off. He finishes. We didn't see it there. He actually kills Corey GG with the... I don't even know what the Lucian ability is. It's the Lucian ability that doesn't do any damage unless you max AP. But he got the last, like, 15 damage there onto Corey. Total chaos, but Celestials still coming out ahead at the end of the day. But I would say a major strike back here for Brawl Stars and a lot of those. And that is a Katarina that's getting very fed. As the culling comes through, potentially, I think we're just going to... Here's a fight.
Yep, a little bit of damage onto Hideous as he tries to be able to get out of that one. Eric EX will be able to clone away. About to have Cyclone, and we'll be able to use it. Dawning Shadows gonna get a little bit of damage, but it will end up being Croxer getting the kill onto Eric EX. Rampage gonna come through from Maliuwu as they try to be able to escape. A beautiful Glacial Fissure coming in from Lost Boy top to be able to stop the potential resets from Mally. Everyone was so low, the Pentacle could have been there, but yet again, the support coming in with an amazing CC chain, making sure that it's only 1 kill going down, but Brawl Stars picking up a tower in the mid lane.
Yeah, now they've just about equalized the goal. Again, this Katarina continuing to show how potent this champion can be. It's just like it's a very slippery slope. As soon as the Katarina gets like 1 reset, the fight can be completely over. And as we see a replay. So again, Eric EX, he gets a nice knock up there, tries to go in for that final kill, and Hideous, as we've been doing throughout this entire game, escaping with 1 HP twice in this fight. At the end of... Okay, well, never mind. I jinxed it. I forgot. He does die. We've had so many fights. I'm mixing them up right now. So, again, the killing spree coming through. That was an earlier one there for Mally. But I want to make a bold prediction. I think Mally does get a pentakill in this game. I think it's going to happen later on. Keep your eyes on the Katarina. I think it is going to happen. Celestials, though, are going to strike back, pick up this turret with 1 more auto there in the mid lane. Are maintaining a slight gold lead here, and they have that Drake. Rift Herald going down now as well. They should have Drake control here too. Wait and see how Brawl Stars responds. Right now, just roaming as 5. Nice plays by Team Celestial. Just pick up towers, rather, all across the map and try to pressure that lead. As long as they are trying to keep the Katarina a little bit further away, it's all good. Ooh, Chains of Corruption gonna whiff there as well. I don't know if Brawl Stars... Looks like they might want to contest this Drake potentially. They have the Scuttle, but... I don't know if they can do this. They're looking for the arrows, looking for maybe a Hextech Ultimatum, a Cyclone.
No, not gonna happen this time. Crazy Cat Kid too good with the smite as the Ragnarok comes through into the Wild Growth to be able to get the knockup, as we do end up getting a Hextech Ultimatum onto him. We'll end up going down, and it's everyone dying as we look top lane. It's the Olaf, or not top lane, but the top of that one, not gonna be able to survive. It's gonna be Brawl Stars taking the ace. Mally Uwu, really good use of his ultimates. Great performances coming in from OG, being able to get those roots. Man.
Yeah, and here we see the Katarina popping off, but also the ability of the Senna to just support these divers as well. Get those roots coming in, as you pointed out, Moose. And it wasn't a pentakill for the Katarina, but it was an ace. There were 5 kills coming in for Brawl Stars, and as much as Team Celestials had a very hot start in this game, Brawl Stars now in full control. Unfortunately for them, there was no Baron to take, but the way these fights have been going, I think they're going to continue to go the way of Brawl Stars here, as Eric is getting chased down here, maybe looking for the turn. Okay.
No, I don't.
Nope.
I don't think you see Mally Uwu at this point. You run away. Look at the items. Haunting guys. He's got a Rabadon's death cap early on. 10,000 gold. The richest man on the Rift over for Celestials is Crazy Cat Kid at 96. But it is definitely going to be a Mally carry if he is going to be able to win this game. All boils down to whether or not Brawl Stars is able to use Mally Uwu effectively. They went all in for the Katarina. They said all our chips are on the table. We want to be able to get to that third place potential chance to be able to make this a game 3. They are in prime position to do this right now. They are in the lead by about 700 gold, but it is Celestials with control of the Rift a little bit better. They picked up they picked up 2 dragons. They picked up the tower in the mid lane. They picked up the tower in all side lanes, as well as Brawl Stars picks up a tower in the top lane himself. But you know, looking at everything, it's still a very even matchup. A little bit of a lead for Brawl Stars gold-wise. And Mally Uwu, I mean, he's still going to be able to have that field day coming through. Blade of the Rune King is picked up for Hideous, which is a big buy. And now it means potentially that Hideous will be able to stay in these fights a little bit longer, getting a little bit more lifesteal. And so, I mean, you know, moving into the 12-minute mark, I mean, these Death Armors are now starting to be big. If Mally is not able to find a great fight, if he's not able to get that good Death Lotus to be able to get the resets, to be able to secure those multi-man kills, it's going to be, you know, Celestials might be able to push forward and just take the base like they did in that last game.
Yeah, and you know, if I'm looking at Celestials, you've got a Lulu Polymorph, you've got the Wild Growth, you've got a Bronze Stun, you've got a Renekton Ruthless Predator. If I'm against a Katarina, I feel pretty good with this team comp, and yet at the same time, Mally Uwu has 9 kills at 12 minutes in this game and has a ton of items coming through already. Not that far away from full build, honestly. So it's really, really scary. I think we saw earlier on the Aurelia, even though it didn't work out with a win, Mally has got some very, very good mechanics, and the mechanics on the Katarina have been on full display already in this game. I think that is the question, is can they properly peel away the Katarina? It's also a question of how these fights do start. If Brawl Stars are able to start the fight off first, they have Eric go in, maybe Monarch go in with the Senna over the top, healing them up, getting the roots, getting the slows. That can be huge, and that can make these fights so chaotic that Team Celestials can't respond properly to the Katarina, because Mally is waiting for the perfect opportunity and then jumping in and cleaning these up. So the question is, fight started here by Celestials, though.
Ooh, Brawl Stars does not have the Katarina in the area, as we do end up getting the Ragnarok getting popped. A little bit of damage to the Dawning Shadows comes through onto the Olaf, and a beautiful Cyclone. It's going to be a lot of damage. Mally Uwu is now in the area. What a stun! What a root! The resets are there! It's a Katarina double kill! It's a Wukong double kill! And that's going to be Brawl Stars picking up the ace in the 4v5.
Incredible. The Katarina wasn't there, as you pointed out. They still pick up a kill, and they buy some time. They get some low health bars blinking there. Excellent engage by Eric with the Cyclone. He finds everybody here, and it doesn't just buy time, it gets them pretty low, honestly. They peel back there, the exhaust coming through onto the Renekton. Everybody is caught, or excuse me, onto the Olaf. Everybody is caught by the Cyclone. The root is gigantic. Everything was picture perfect here for Brawl Stars. And as soon as you saw the Katarina walking in with those health bars with a lot of cooldowns already used, you knew that was game over for Celestials. But they do get the reset here, and they managed to pick up that Infernal Drake. So some pretty nice news for Celestials to have those 3 Drakes to their name. Sure, they're down a decent amount of gold now at about 4,500. But it's definitely not the end of the world just yet. And again, they have the tools to deal with the Katarina. I think the difficulty is going to be coordinating these fights for them, because the way their comp works, they've got a Renekton and an Olaf that can definitely chase in and kill, but you can see they're just getting exhausted and peeled off in all of these fights. I think it can be a little bit difficult to play it out. They've got good tools to deal with the Katarina, but if they're the ones chasing in, like in that fight, I don't think it works very well. I mean, you're going to need Crazy Cat Kid to just pop off and take somebody down through everything, through the Cyclone, through the Ultimatum, through the Hook Shot, through all the Senna heals, through the Chains of Corruption. There's so much there. And of course, the Ragnarok can shrug that off with the Olaf, but there's still the healing there, the kite back potential. I think it's going to be pretty difficult, and that's probably, though, the one salvation for Team Celestials in these fights is if they can manage to either shut down the Katarina, maybe just kill her with a Braum stun or a Renekton stun, or manage to somehow find some picks, maybe take down Corey GG or OGBS in the back line with Proxer and Crazy Cat Kid. I think it's a tall order, and they're hemorrhaging more gold here as this Baron push continues, but we'll see if they can pull it off, or if Brawl Stars continue just feed more kills on this colossal Katarina that has been cleaning up these fights.
So, I mean, something to point out here that's, I think, really big for Celestials in terms of, I think, a problem that they have. As we do get into another fight, it is a support Lulu. Ardent Censer, Staff of Flowing Water, the only AP member of Celestial's team is going to be going support, along with Lost Boy Toph that does have, you know, those support tanky build items. And so, I mean, that's going to mean that the rest of Brawl Stars is going to be able to prioritize that armor. And you've seen several Bramble Vests coming through. The Chain Vests are coming in as well for several members of Brawl Stars to be able to continue to keep it going. As you can see, even Corey GG picking up a cloth armor there to be able to continue to keep up with the defense. And so Celestials, I mean, they got a little bit ahead of themselves. They were running, moving into game number 2. They had a really, you know, a fun early game. They were able to get some good kills, but they weren't able to continue to keep it up. They didn't get the engagements that they needed to. Mali Uwu getting those 2 triple kills. That's 6 kills in a matter of, you know, like 30 seconds. Yeah. And there's no one building AP for Celestials, so it just means that Brawl Stars is able to get armor, they're able to stay tanky in these fights, and there's no magic resistance as well. Celestials, I think, has 0 magic resistance, maybe a little bit on Osu picking up the Shirelias, but other than that, I mean, you know, Maliuwu has the Void Staff, he's got the Rabadon's Death Cap, his AP is probably well over 400 at this point. Gonna be picking up the Leandries as that next item moving in. And that's, you know, that's going to be tough. Yeah, looking at it, Haunting Guys is still on there, but the Void Staff, along with the Zhonya's Hourglass, going to be available. All of the extra AP or magic penetration is going to be there, along with the AP that it brings. And we do end up seeing Brawl Stars now looking to be able to go for the Baron. It looks like Monarch is trying to be able to get a little bit of defense there, and we'll be able to zone them out a little bit. But it does look like Brawl Stars may be looking to go for a potential fight here to end the game. This could be big. It is a nice lead here as Proxer tries to come through. He's going to be able to get the Cyclone. Donning Chaz is going to come in. Everyone is so low. The Glacial Fissure is not enough. Eric EX is going to flash in. It's going to be a triple kill for Maliuwu. He's going to be able to continue to potentially get even more kills as Proxer. Oh no, Corey GG with the kill on to the Renekton. It's still going to be 3 kills there for Maliuwu, and the Elder Drake is not going to be a matter of a contention. It will be Brawl Stars. Doesn't even need the Baron, just going to take game 2.
That was a huge Renekton, I just have to point out. I think we might get a chance to see it in this fight. Wild Growth plus the shield. He was gigantic, but the big setup comes through. They almost get the stun there. They're trying to stun the Wukong because they know he's going for the Cyclone. They don't get it. Then you have that Senna Wukong combo that's been huge the whole game. Speaking of huge, yeah, look at the size. It's like 4 times the size of every single champion on there. I'm sorry, I just have to point that out. But again,
you have to.
Yeah, Brawl Stars surviving with the slivers of HP and the power of, you talked about being able to itemize the armor here against I mean, it is all AD. The Lulu is just providing support. There's nothing there. And on the other hand, you talked about not a lot of MR coming through. It's the problem is it's so hard to justify when you're looking at Camille, Wukong, Varus, Senna. You're like, come on, do I really have to build MR? It's like, yes, this Katarina's 14-3, has 6,000 more gold than anybody. It's absolutely ludicrous, and unfortunately, you do see a little bit of MR creeping in there, but at the end of the day, I think the power of the Katarina really showed off here. And I'm glad, too, because I kind of felt for Mally with some of the Aurelia plays in game number 1. I feel like this is a player that wants to play some of these heavy carries, get some pop-off highlight plays. Wasn't quite able to make it happen the way the chips fell, but here in game number 2, absolutely ludicrous amounts of damage there. You can see 36,000. I mean, and again, I feel like this is a comp where it's like, yeah, you should be able to stop the Katarina, but they just couldn't do it. I think that's credit to Brawl Stars, Mally for playing well in the Katarina, knowing when to go in, but also Eric, Monarch, everybody, OGBS as well, setting things up in these fights, making them chaotic, and getting people low enough that the Katarina can clean up. The Katarina-Varus combination in particular, the poke into the cleanup, it's perfect. It's a time-tested combination.
Yeah, and you know, when looking at the gold, look at the gold. 9 minutes in, it was Celestials in the lead. They were able to have, you know, that gold advantage ready to go, moving into that second dragon, which they did pick up. But as you can see, that immediate dip, that's the 2 triple kills between the 9-minute mark and the 10-minute mark. That's about the 2 triple kills coming through of 4. Actually, more like, you know, the 7-minute mark to the 9-minute mark. That's where those 2 triple kills happen for Mally Uwu. Obviously, picking up all the stats, picking up the MVP. Just, I mean, you know, it happens when you get a team like that and a player like that popping off. So really, really good performances coming in from both teams moving forward into the next game. We're going to stay right here. Celestials and Brawl Stars are now in a game 3 situation. They have come to play and they have delivered. Both of these teams are now all in to potentially get into the losers finals bracket matchup. Whoever wins this game is going to be able to face off against 420 in that losers finals game. Neither of these teams have played against 420, and they have no idea what they're going to bring to the table. They are going to have to push and pull and tear and rip and pray and beg and just all of the different emotions to try to be able to get themselves this win. But really fun first bracket matchup here today.
Oh, yeah.
Game number 3 going to be, I think, as much fun as these other 2. My prediction, though, and I'm a neutral caster. I'm a neutral caster in this one, but my prediction is that Celestials bit off more than they could chew in game 2. They are going to be focusing on making the best comp possible, playing the best game that they can, respecting the fact that Brawl Stars was able to win game 2, and they're going to come in with a big game 3.
Yeah, you know, I'm curious to see what will be banned away because to me, it was a big difference. Lost Boy not being on the Rakan, not being able to be the aggressors with that comp and have it work out effectively. So we are heading right into the draft for game number 2. No break, or excuse me, for game number 3. The match point here between these 2 teams. Only one can make it out. They got to be so close. They feel like they can taste it. They've got to get through 420 as well before they can get all the way to the finals. But they have made it this far. However, only one can proceed. So the Rakan left open here, the Lucian open, the Wukong is banned away. So that Wukong, Camille, both showing up repeatedly in this series. Really curious what the response is going to be against just the Camille, who I believe is 2-0 in this series, if I recall correctly. So looks like quite a bit of adaptation coming through, at least from game number 2. I am curious about that Twisted Fate, if that does come through. That could be really cool. Was banned away in game number 1, I believe. Now the Olaf response coming through. So again, Brawl Stars going for what looks like a lot of dive. Game number 2, we saw an Olaf that did not have so much support. Camille and some other champions that can be paired with that can help. Senna would be perfect. I think that can really build an effective comp for Brawl Stars. And I'm with you on the prediction, Moose, because these games have been so bloody. These teams have been so willing to 5v5 over everything. I think it's going to come down to team fighting and mechanics, and Brawl Stars have shown in that regard. Mally Uwu has shown in that regard. They've shown the ability to pop off in these fights when these games become very, very chaotic.
And so, I mean, that's going to be, I think, the big question here is how this team fight is going to play out. I mean, Brawl Stars, obviously, they're going for a big team fight comp. Camille has the Hextech Ultimatum. Olaf with the Ragnarok. They're going to be able to just whittle down anybody that they're able to get. And it looks like we're going to see even more CC coming through as OGPS is going to pick up the Seraphine. Mali Uwu is on the Lucian. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I think we're going to see Maliuwu playing as the Lucian in the mid lane. It's going to be a Senna Seraphine bottom lane with an Olaf jungle and a Camille top. I think that is the play here. Maybe it's a Seraphine mid lane, but I would love to see Maliuwu play on a really high performance marksman on that Lucian in the mid lane, being able to get that damage against Osu. But the tried and true, we saw Crazy Cat Kid play amazing on that Rengar the last game that we saw, or the last time that we saw him play last week, and he's going to be picking up here in this game. It is all on the line for Brawl Stars and Celestials. Lulu, Zaya, Twisted Fate, Darius, and Rengar coming through for Celestials. Brawl Stars, Camille, Olaf, Seraphine, Senna, Lucian, two very strong combinations. I think both of them have really good potential to really capitalize on each champion's strengths. And it's going to be up to whether or not they're able to execute. And let's get into it. Game number 3, the chance for that third place, or for that third place finish, is on the line. Whoever loses this game is going to go 4th place here in the tournament. Going to pick up a $100 prize. But if they're able to make it to at least 3rd place, that is $250. So a big jump. So a big amount of money on the line for both these teams.
Yeah, I mean, credit to these teams making it this far. They are, of course, already guaranteed at least 4th, getting that prize. But all these teams have got their eyes on that 1st place, have got their eyes on a chance against Tribe Gaming in the grand finals, or at least moving on against 420 here. The further they can get, the better. Everything on the line here in game number 3, and just from the draft, you know this is going to be a banger. It's everything you'd want to see. Look at the Brawl Stars comp. Perfect. I love this comp. They got the Seraphine, they got Olaf and Camille that can dive forward. Senna Seraphine love that. They love supporting that. And I also talk about corridors as well in some of these team fights. Senna, Lucian, and Seraphine all have these long vertical abilities that can fire. If they find these choke points, if they find the perfect angles in those fights, it's absolutely devastating. But on the other side, Celestials, Crazy Cat Kid back on the Rengar. The TF that was banned away, they can help some of these side lanes, maybe join in for Proxer, get the Darius a little bit ahead, is what they're bringing forth. There's some opportunity for Celestials to get ahead here. We're going to talk a lot about Brawl Stars after game 2, but there's certainly some opportunities here. Definitely all eyes on Crazy Cat Kid. Last time we piloted the Rengar, they got off to a massive lead early on, but in game number 2 they got off to a massive lead too, and the problem is it didn't pan out. They had this super early game comp, and by the time the clock started ticking, they started losing some fights. All of a sudden everything fell apart. The question is, can Crazy Cat Kid change it? Can they get the lead? Can they keep it here in game number 3? Should be a good one. Only one team moves on.
I think that they can. I think that they have the ability to really move forward. I think they have a lot of potential to be able to have a good early game and to be able to push forward into a solid mid game. Osu wants to be ahead against Mali Uwu, and so I do expect to see a little bit of damage coming, or a little bit of ganking coming in from Crazy Cat Kid here momentarily, potentially get Mali onto a bad spot. We'll see if that ends up being the case. And so, my eyes for Celestials are obviously on Crazy Cat Kid, picking up that Rengar. That's always an all-in pick. If they're able to use it effectively, it's GG against Brawl Stars. If Brawl Stars is able to get this Lucian ahead, if Maliuwu is able to perform really, really well moving into the mid game with that big champion, it's going to be really big. As Crazy Cat Kid tries to come through, he's going to get the root, and it will be Crazy Cat Kid getting the first blood. Eric EX is going to go down.
Wow.
A little bit of commentators blessing there as Celestials picks up 2 kills.
Yeah, so you see here, we didn't see the beginning of this. Osu, they dove Osu mid lane. He flashed away. He's 1 HP there. Held onto the barrier. The discipline is outstanding there. As we're coming through, I don't think that they'll be able to find a kill here. Just some poke coming through there. But yeah, absolutely, the punish coming through was huge, and great big brain there by the bot lane of Lost Boy and Hideous, roaming all the way up to mid lane along with Crazy Cat Kid. They get 2 kills in the Rengar early on. Last time we saw Crazy Cat with this many kills on a Rengar, it was very bad news for the other team. I think they got to be feeling the pressure right now. Celestials already getting off to exactly the kind of start they wanted, but we could have a dive potential bot side. They're gearing up for this. They're looking.
Yep, the root's going to come through onto Hideous, but it's not going to be enough. Destiny is there. They know that this could potentially be happening, and Lost Boy Toph is level 5. He does have Wild Growth, but does he have enough mana for it? Maybe he does. He does have enough for the Wild Growth. He's going to be using it on Hideous, but Hideous will not be able to get anything. No! He will end up going down. Maliu will die. So it ends up being a 2-for-1, and now looking at the mid lane, it'd be Crazy Cat Kid, Proxer, and Osu wanting to be able to push forward. Maybe looking to be able to get a tower here before they're able to get out. Great use of that, I don't know what it's called, but that secondary, that sweeping ability. Unfortunately for Hideous, ends up going down a little bit too early there, or Lost Boy Toph going down a little bit too early there. Hideous survives for a long enough to be able to get the kill onto Mali, but yeah, you know, good dive. They are going to get punished for it, though, as Brawl Stars will end up giving up the Rift Herald very early in the fight. And you got Crazy Cat Kid, Proxer, and on top of that, Osu going immediately towards the top lane. They know that there's several members of Brawl Stars on the Dragon. They're going to be able to get first tower here if they drop the Rift Herald immediately.
Yeah, they're just smacking that turret down. It's a nice punish there. And yeah, the dive, I gotta shout out Lost Boy and Hideous playing that. They actually get a 1-for-1 against 4. It was absolutely crazy that they were able to get away with that. I think that Brawl Stars should have backed away with the 1 kill onto the Lulu, and now they're looking again. Maybe they can get it with the cooldowns gone. Yes, they do take down the Zai. Sorry, I'm taking your job there for a second there, Moose, but they do get the kill. This time around, all the cooldowns were burned earlier. Hideous did have the flash up by now, but did not have the Feather Storm just yet, so that's key. Even Exhaust comes down to slow him down there. So they do get the punish there, do Brawl Stars, and they're certainly not taking their foot off the gas pedal here, even though they are a little bit down. But yeah, very smart by Crazy Cat Kid and the rest of Celestials to just strike back on the top side. It's that, I almost call it like a yin-yang, because you've got, you know, if that makes any sense, you know, the bot side, one team goes up, the top side, the other team responds, curving around, basically. So they do pick up that first turret. The second turret was picked up in the mid lane response there by Brawl Stars as well. And now, sieging bot lane, I wonder if we will wind up with a 4v4 here as the fight comes in.
My goodness, so much damage onto the tower, and it is going to be Crazy Cat Kid just trying to go for it, but in a beautiful encore as the Feather Storm comes through. It's not going to be enough. Hideous will end up going down. He won't pick up anyone there as Osu will be able to escape. Celestials going all in for the tower. They had the Rift Herald still up, but they weren't able to get the tower. They end up losing 3, and now Brawl Stars back to within 600.
Yeah, I'm really curious about the Rift Herald usage there. They didn't use it top, and hey, then they got the turret. That's fine, but you have to wonder here, because this is exactly where you don't want to be as a Rengar. No bushes, sitting right in front of a turret. It feels really bad. The hook shot comes in on the ultimatum, even actually knocks him back in. Works out really nice. The charm comes through. I think at that point he knew it was dead. He's just trying to get the turret, but you see the power of the Seraphine Encore and the Senna channeled through that Olaf Camille. That's exactly what Brawl Stars comp can do. We talked about that in draft, and now it's coming true. And when the Rengar just dies instantly, and the Rengar is the one with a lot of the gold here, a lot of the power in the early game here for Team Celestials, it becomes impossible for Celestials to win these fights. Now, not trying to, you know, say, oh, game over, it's all over. Celestials still have 1,000 gold lead. They even get the flash out of Mali Uwu there. So well played to get that summoner spell. But it is a worry for me, because this team scales pretty well for Brawl Stars. I mean, even the Olaf getting later into the game, at some point he's just going to be a guy to absorb some cooldowns and just make the Seraphine Encore go further, and that's all they need if this game goes late. It's still going to be fine. Overall, I really like the Senate and the Seraphine scaling for that, and actually the Seraphine, yeah, going full AP on this, so with the Ludens, so we'll see how that does play out, but so far for Brawl Stars, at least during that last fight, feeling all right. Next Drake of the game will be an Infernal Drake. We'll see which team. Right now, Bot Control generally go in the way of Team Celestials, and they're going to pick up that turret too. So still feeling pretty good here. We'll see where Crazy Cat Kid looks next. His ultimate will be coming up here. Thrill of the Hunt, I believe. We were talking about this. Let's see. On the Hunt is Sivir. I think it's Thrill of the Hunt is the Rengar ultimate.
Thrill of the Hunt.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's gonna be coming up. That could be key, and it's up now.
Yeah, we were discussing that after last show, as it does look like the last inner tower or outer tower will go down. But yeah, you know, I think for Brawl Stars, just kind of piggyback off of what you were talking about, as we do get the Rift Herald getting spawned. Dragon is going to be spawning in 18 seconds, so we'll talk about it here in a second. This could be a big fight here for Celestials. It could be a big fight for Brawl Stars, as the Rift Herald kind of gets wasted. Shelly unable to get anything out of that one, ends up just going down and goes back to the void. Nothing coming out of that one, as we do get Destiny going to get used with the Thrill of the Hunt. That is always nice to have, and they are going to try to come through. Proxer with a beautiful engage, but it's not enough damage. Brawl Stars is going to be able to get the beautiful fight that they want. Engaged by Celestials.
Insane.
It doesn't work out, and Brawl Stars is going to pick up the ace. Oh man, Hideous barely able to survive there.
Okay, no.
Oh my goodness, no health on that Xayah. But all four members of Celestials go down. Look at the fight.
Yeah, insane. This is exactly what you want for Proxer. He finds everybody, but the problem is the team fight is just so good for Brawl Stars. I mean, you have to think, what more could the Darius do here? But the Encore comes through. You have the Senna Dawning Shadow over the top. It's huge. I was certain the Raptors were going to hit the Xayah here. I think that maybe even is something they were looking for, but amazing that Hideous actually survives that. But overall, this is a huge win for Brawl Stars. They're picking up the Drakes. And just to jump in from a little bit earlier, too, the Rift Herald feels real bad, Shelly fans. Unfortunately, Rift Herald not used top, not used bot, finally used mid, doesn't even get the charge. So unfortunately for Celestials, I mean, we talked about wanting to see them kind of parlay that early advantage, the early kills on the Rengar into something more. 2-0, now 2-2, unfortunately. And meanwhile, okay, though, they're starting the Baron. They have no idea. They're just going to get a free Baron. This is so smart. The Dawning Shadow is going to hit them, but it doesn't even matter. Wow. So again, I guess I reverse caster cursed. I'm bagging on Celestials here. They get the Baron sneak there, and that could be huge. I mean, they couldn't find anything with the Rift Herald, but maybe with Rift Herald's larger, more powerful cousin, the Baron Nashor, perhaps they can take down some of these structures, as looks like some resets coming through to start with for him.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I think that this is like the last big play that Celestials is going to have before Brawl Stars just gets way out of control in terms of their damage. One thing that I wanted to point out earlier before that last team fight that really helped them and is helping them right now is all of the defense that they've got. They had a very early Bramble Vest coming through from the Camille, as Osu ends up going down, going to miss that flash. That's big for Brawl Stars. And, you know, as we move forward, the Brawl Stars team is going to be on a ticking time bomb. We get to see the miss flash again out of Osu. You hate to see it, as we do get a team fight coming through in the mid lane. It's going to be a lot of damage on the top, and he tries to be able to get out of this one. Will end up being Hideous going down, but the Dawning Shadows going to pick up a kill on to Lost Boy as well. Proxer and Crazy Cat Kid are the only two members of the blue team or the red team that have Baron still up. Oh no, Crazy Cat Kid gonna go down. Mali Uwu with the awareness will pick up the kill. Has 3 items almost: Blade of the Ruined King and the Infinity Edge. But I mean, we didn't talk about it earlier, but you know, now it's becoming super apparent the ticking time bomb that Brawl Stars has with their champions, the damage that they're able to put in once they finally get those extra couple of items is insane. And now they're up by 2,000 gold. They've got a 2-dragon lead. They've got a 9-kill advantage. And this is looking really scary for Celestials. They are on the back foot, but they have not fallen down just yet. They still have a chance to win this game. They just need to play a little bit smarter, a little bit safer, and find the big engagement to be able to make this happen.
Yeah, you know, Baron sneaking is great. It's awesome. But if you just die, continually lose all the Baron buffs without getting anything, really, really bad news. Unfortunately, purple has just not been Team Celestial's color this time around. I want to shout out Hideout, who's playing like a bird possessed in some of these fights. 243 might not tell you the story, but almost did take down Eric in that last fight. I thought maybe with the help of Lost Boy and Lulu was going to be able to kite that one out just barely, but does die to the Dawning Shadow at the very end of that fight earlier on. So really doing everything they can is Hideous to try to salvage some of these fights, but Brawl Stars' power is just so strong in these team fights, and you mentioned it, Moose, that it's only going to get worse as time goes on. And you look at, I think, a pretty good 1-4, maybe 1-3-1 that Team Celestials can muster here with Osu on the sideline. Unfortunately, when your TF is not able to Destiny away, misses the flash, and Lucian just walks in, Mally just walks in and kills him. That's going to put a real big hole in your 1-4 siege, unfortunately. So Team Celestials, they've got to, I like some of the ideas here, but they got to make it work. They're going to take the Baron, they're going to take the Rift World, they're going to take the 1-4. I like the idea, but they got to make it work. They're looking for Monarch.
Yep, Monarch will end up going down, so they will end up picking up a kill, but it is going to be Celestials giving up the Dragon for it. And now they've got to be able to go in for the potential Hail Mary on to Baron. It would be a 4v5 play. Crazy Cat Kid is going to be in the area trying to be able to find something as the Destiny does come out. A lot of damage onto Proxer as Proxer ends up going down. It will end up being a dominating Lucian as Maliuwu dies. Eric X will go down onto the Olaf as you do get Osu flashing in. Going to try to get a kill, but no, not going to be enough. OGVS with a beautiful heal, and Maliuwu is going to get a double kill. 4 members of Celestials go down. Lost Boy Top is trying to run away. The relentless pursuit is there, but it's not going to be enough as the calling comes in. Not going to be able to get that kill, but disaster for Celestials as they end up losing 4. They don't even get the Baron. They give Brawl Stars the Dragon, and that might just be the push to end the game.
It could be. Proxer and Crazy Cat Kid are coming up. I think they're going to be okay. I think they'll back away with, yeah, they'll back away with this, but it is a huge win for Brawl Stars. Celestials, I think, got the fight they needed right here. They actually survived. They get the 3 versus 3 at the end here, and it was a pick. So they initially get the pick here that sets them up for a 5 versus 4. And initially, okay, we're not going to chance, but the fight looked good initially, but this is Mally's series. 100%. Yeah, here we go. So initially the Encore comes through, it finds a few, but it's only Eric on the back side of that, and they managed to peel away from the Olaf. Things look good. Now Osu says, I want the pop-off moment. I'm going to look for the gold card. But look at Maliuwu, insane. Flashes forward right into the feathers. He does not care. Instantly picks up the double kill right there. Every single game, the mid laner of Brawl Stars has just looked absolutely insane here. The mechanics, the confidence to do that play, knowing it was going to work out. I love to see it. And heal burn by a Lost Boy there. Maybe a miss touch, potentially, but I was going to say misclick. But yeah, Brawl Stars certainly in the driver's seat at this point. They're going to need something else, I think, to finish this one off. One more team fight should pick up the win. Again, it's not quite over for Celestials, but now, talking about 1-4, is this Monarch in the side lane. Camille's going to take those turrets very quickly. Response here from Celestials. Thrill the Hunt is popped. They're looking for something. Oh, Encore only finds the Twisted Fate. That's some cooldown Smith. Here we go.
Okay, Prox is going to come through as we do get Crazy Cat Kid. Leaping in is just going to die to Mally immediately. And it's going to end up being several kills going down. Monarch is now in the area with the teleport. And there's the 4-man death. Osu says, I want no part of this, and goes back. Miscommunication coming through from Celestials as Brawl Stars moves forward, gets themselves this game. They're going to flash forward. They're going to try to get away from that one, but the damage from Maliuwu is just way too much, and it will be Brawl Stars coming back from a first game loss to take down Celestials 2-1, showing that I am incorrect in my predictions in the draft. Let's see this final play here.
Yeah, so the Encore finds only one, and you can see what Celestials are thinking here. They're saying, they just burned the Encore. They can't fight, right? Yeah, they can, especially when you have the miscommunication here of the Olaf diving on 3 and the Rengar going in alone against 3. The Rengar does not have a Ragnarok. He's just going to get popped immediately. And a disjointed fight as you see that Osu did indeed go back, did not use the Destiny. And speaking of Destiny, I mean, Brawl Stars destined to move on to face 420 in the losers bracket finals here. They do chase down the Twisted Fate. But at the end of the day, yeah, I like some of the things Celestials were thinking about here, but in the individual team fights, Brawl Stars really showing off. And talk about Mali Uwu again with the MVP, 11-2-8 on the Lucian. Right from the draft, we were hyped. We were saying, insane. We're going to get the mid lane Lucian from this extremely mechanically skilled player, the hard carry for Brawl Stars this whole series. What a performance. And especially in this game, I love this team comp that they built. Just perfect for the style that Brawl Stars are going for, where they're just continually taking these fights, and there's just nothing you can do. I mean, how are you going to walk through the Seraphine Senna there, and you've got an Olaf running at you with the Ragnarok? I mean, it's so difficult to play around, and Celestials weren't able to find it. Congratulations to Brawl Stars. Moving on, they're going to be facing 420 in the losers bracket finals, and they've secured at least third place and the potential to go even further.
Yep, and that, that's going to be a big jump in prize pool distribution. It's going to be Celestials picking up a $100 fourth place finish. It's going to be a nice little payday for them for playing a couple of games, a Wild Rift, but I'm sure they would have loved to have been able to win this game and move forward into a face-off against 420. Unfortunately, though, I mean, Maliuwu, MVP of the entire series in this one against Celestials. He played an amazing Aurelia game in the game that they lost, and then obviously doing an amazing job on Katarina and then on Lucian as well. Unfortunately for Celestials, Brawl Stars, they were just able to figure it out. They were able to find a way to get themselves this win in game number 2 and in game number 3. They're going to move forward and face off against 420. And so, I mean, with that final thought coming through, it's going to be Brawl Stars having to play, really, really well in moving in against 420. Maliuwu has shown that he is the player to watch in this last fight. And so
100%.
we could potentially see 420 make the decision to say, hey, we want to ban out some of these champions for Mali. We want to be able to play around potentially Mali being the player that is going to carry Brawl Stars into the win. But, when you do that, you end up giving, a lot of these other teams the opportunity, or a lot of these other players potentially pop off. You get potentially, Cali GG playing on that Seraphine had a 1-0-20 set score. I mean, that's really strong coming in from Mali. If he's able to play like this in this game against 420, I think the damage and the potential is there for them to go up against Tribe and take that victory. However, we're going to take, I believe, a quick break before we jump into our next one. It's going to be 420 up against Brawl Stars. Third place losers finals matchup coming up in just a moment. But yeah, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll see you guys in just a moment.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to more coverage of the MGA Wild Rift Copa America. We had an amazing series earlier today. It lived up and exceeded all my own expectations. Very back and forth, very bloody, and some insanely great mechanics and team fighting coming through from Brawl Stars Pros, who we're going to be watching this time against 420, who have been waiting for them in the losers bracket finals. Best of 3 series between these two. Winner moves on to the grand finals against Tribe Gaming. Loser does get a chance in the 3rd place match there. That said, this should be a good one already, and I believe we are already jumping into draft, Moose, but yeah, it should be nice.
Ooh, it's going to be a fun one. Mally Uwu played an exceptionally well first bracket matchup against Celestials. Whoever wins this best of 3 series gets to face off against Tribe. They are guaranteed at least $400 in their finishing or in their prize pool for second place. First place gets $500. And so the difference between third and first, third place gets $250, first gets $500. The chance to double your winnings with a victory here in this one would be huge. And as you can see, 420 was paying attention in that last game. It's going to be the Lucian and the Katarina both banned out against Mally Uwu. That is a targeted ban, not going to be available for them to be able to use in that one. However, it does leave a lot of different champions available on the table. We still have the Wukong, the Gragas, we've got the Galio still available. There's a lot of opportunity for them to be able to get that picked up, and they do. They end up picking up the Wukong, they end up picking up the Gragas first early on, some good engagement tools, and it looks like Mally Uwu might be picking up the Twisted Fate. That would be big, Vestburger. Oh my goodness, this is shaping out to be a very fun draft. Looks like we've got Kimbe looking to pick up the Singed. Rengar! Oh my goodness, Rengar gonna come through from 420. Mally Uwu now gonna have to rethink this Twisted Fate pick. I love the decision there coming in from Tybe to try to be able to potentially dissuade OGBS picking up the Varus, and it will be Mally Uwu picking up the Twisted Fate.
So Eric on the familiar Wukong, very happy to see that. As a Vayne main, I am so hyped to see Vayne come through. Not picked regularly, not valued too highly, but does have use in definitely certain situations. The Condemn can be huge. Vayne scaling is amazing. And the Singed is going to be picked up, so there's so much to dissect here, so much that is so cool to see. And it is fun to see in these series. Sometimes teams are willing to branch out and experiment a little bit more in the best of ones earlier on. Maybe you don't want to do that because one mistake could mean everything, you're out. Now you got a best of 3 series. You got a chance to maybe feel things out, see how things go. Looks like the Seraphine is going to come through there for Brawl Stars. Saw how effective that can be. I really like a lot of the choices both these teams are making, but especially looking at 420, at first glance, some very bizarre choices. I can kind of understand some of the thinking, but I'm curious how the execution works, because playing around a Singed can be kind of difficult for both teams. Honestly, it can be interesting. And you mentioned the Rengar against the Twisted Fate as well. Rengar really good at catching people out in side lanes, can be good at catching people out anywhere. Should be really fun. And you mentioned teams watching that last game. Katarina banned away, Lucian banned away there from Mally. Twisted Fate can be picked up, and the Seraphine locked in that we saw was so effective earlier. Teams definitely carrying forward some of the knowledge learned from playing and watching the tournament thus far. Should be good.
And so, I mean, that's going to be the question here for 420 is, are they good enough to rock this comp against Brawl Stars, or did they bite off more than they can chew? That's going to be a little bit of a question there, as we do get a skating Vayne. the new Sentinel skating Vayne waltzing her way into a potential victory here for the Ford 420. I'm gonna be curious to see how this team plays out. You know, Kana playing as the Johnny, got Black Camel. I mean, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Black Camel, but Black Camel has been phenomenal in some of the other tournaments that I've seen him play as. Playing as that Corki, really effective there. But, you know, at the end of the day, you've got a Singe, you've got a Vayne, you've got a Rengar. I mean, these are picks that you're choosing because you think that you're going to be able to win this game easy. it's gonna end up boiling down to how Brawl Stars is able to respond. You do have a good disengage tool coming in from Monarch, playing on that Gragas. The back and forth battle, such an engaging battle in the top lane for us here. But you know, it's a really strong bracket draft coming in for Brawl Stars. They're just gonna have to execute flawlessly. They're gonna have to show that they are not to be trifled with. As it does look like we get a little bit even more exciting engagements coming through. Monarch is going to get the body slam, but again, no one dying. We got two tanky boys with their own particular concoctions coming through.
So funny to watch anybody laning against Singed because, like, it's almost impossible not to look silly in some situations. You just don't know what you're supposed to do. As, ooh, getting the flash out of Mally early on. Very nice start there for Tybe and the rest of 420 already, and now going to parlay that into a take on that Scuttle Crab. And I was curious, I did see, yeah, so interesting choice here. OGBS actually recalled like right away, like at like a minute 15. As we see him pick up the lethality, or excuse me, the serrated Dirk for some lethality with that recall, which I think is pretty smart. Getting a quick replay here of just forcing that flash out. Nicely done. They kind of bait him to follow there by Black Camel as well. I think baiting the Twisted Fate to kind of investigate that river down there. We'll see if they can punish that Summoner spell take. But yeah, I'm definitely have my eyes on this bot lane because as the Vayne Shiryuki, it's pretty rough here, especially against a Varus that's going for this poke. Sure, you've got the Janna shield, and the question is if Kana can be really quick on the reactions to shield some of the arrows, but Seraphine Varus is really going to poke out the Vayne pretty heavily here. Going for the Conqueror Vayne as well, not the Fleet Footwork. I like the choice, but the problem is it just means even a little bit less sustain. We'll see if he does look for a reset somewhere here to maybe get a Vamp Scepter, some kind of lifesteal to help out with that. Looks like he's doing just fine right now. He's actually up a little bit of gold because of the reset, but here we go, gank top.
Yep, Throw the Hunt gonna come through. Monarch does have flash, gonna be using the explosive cast. Separates both the Singed and the Rengar out of that one. Beautiful play coming in from Monarch. He is going to end up getting dived on. He's going to try to be able to get away from that one test. He's going to get used, and it's going to be first blood going towards Mally. Ooh, we're going to be able to pick up that kill. Rengar's going to make it a 1-for-1, but it will end up being Mally. Ooh, with a beautiful destiny, and that's why it's banned out in some of those other fights. Not going to be able to get those extra kills coming in. Monarch will end up going down, but it's a 2-for-1 in favor of Brawl Stars.
Look at all the jumps there from Time on the Rengar. He was playing around the bushes effectively, but very smart by Mally to come in there, make use of the Destiny right away. And smart by Monarch, the communication there. He actually, the flash in came through. I think it was actually by Chim who flashed in and grabbed the Gragas there, hoping to maybe pick up that kill. And that gets punished as well by the Destiny use by Mally. So 2-1 now for Brawl Stars. Nice early strike for them. Rift Herald and Dragon are here, and it looks like Brawl Stars are going to start off that Dragon right away. See if it does get sniffed out here. I'm not sure if 420 no, but I think they're just going to give it away. This should go down pretty fast with everyone fighting. And now Tybe looking mid lane. Going to be caught out by the ward. Could have a fight here, though.
Yep, gonna try to maybe go in for the potential smite. Still not gonna be able to get it. Eric EX does have potential play as Monarch is down there, makes it a kill on to Tybe. That was, I mean, really wrong coming in from 420. No reason for him to try to go for something like that because they knew that Chimbe was not going to be down there. He didn't have teleport. He didn't have any way of getting into the fight, and instead he tries to go in for the sneaky steal. Doesn't get anything, doesn't get the kill onto Mally, doesn't get the kill on to the Dragon, ends up dying, and that puts Brawl Stars into a good position as the Rift Herald now gets potentially taken away as Tybe tries to be able to get out of this one. Beautiful re-engage coming in from 420 as we do end up getting a lot of damage. Eric X will die. Mally is going to try to get away from the brush and will be just fine. The blast cone plays coming out. But man, Brawl Stars, you know, trying to push the pressure, trying to push the advantage, unable to get the Rift Herald in time. That is big for 420 as they are now going to be looking to be able to pick up the first tower of the game in the top lane.
Yeah, I think maybe Brawl Stars biting off a little bit more than they can chew. They get the pick and the Drake, and they immediately go up to Rift Herald. 420 has already basically reset. I mean, Tybe died, so forced to reset. Walked right over there, knowing that they can probably catch Brawl Stars at a reset. They find Brawl Stars didn't reset at all. They're just starting a Drake, and they just say, okay, I guess we'll pick up the Rift Herald and pick up the kill. Starting the Rift Herald, excuse me, not starting the Drake. And it was amazing, actually, Eric, I saw on the Wukong playing so well, surviving with 1 HP against the Corki. We'll see if we get a chance to see that. But we wind up with 2 separate fights here. So Eric goes over the wall. Then you wind up with Mali Uwu in a 1v2, which we've seen before. Last time it worked out for the Twisted Fate. This time, not a lot he can do. Flash of the wall there by Tybe, trying to follow the Twisted Fate. Not able to find him. But in the end, I don't know if you saw on the top side of your screen. Here we go, though. Never mind. We got to fight. And,
Yep.
Janna should be dead. Yep. Okay. So a little bit quick there, right out of the replay into blue team refused to surrender. Yes, always good, never surrender. Right. This is a tournament. We always go all the way. But yeah, impressive plays by Eric. I just wanted to point out in that fight, surviving with 1 HP for so long, dodging left and right from the Corki. At least got the flash out of him. But here we have another fight.
All right, Eric EX trying to be able to get out of that one. Remember, Kana is not there because he died a little bit earlier. Corey GG going to try to flash away and will be able to get out of that one. But Eric EX is still alive. No, he's not. It's going to end up being the Rengar being able to get that kill. Tybe, nicely done there. Going to be able to secure a kill on to Eric EX. Makes it a 1-for-1. And on top of that, the Rift Herald is going to get summoned in the bottom lane with no jungler there to smite it away. This will be a tower going down. Mali Uwu is in the area, but they're not going to be able to go up against that one. OGBS has not a lot of mana, not going to be able to even have enough mana for Chains of Corruption, so they will end up giving up that first tower of the game in the bottom lane. Nicely done with that Monsoon, but unfortunately just doesn't have enough health to be able to survive that one. And at the end of the day, the Rift Herald getting taken, the damage was there. The ability from 420 to be able to push the momentum and push the pace is going to force Brawl Stars into a bad spot. And now it's going to be a gold lead by about 2,000 gold for 420.
Yeah, they're feeling pretty good in this one, and the scaling is there. They have the Vayne, they have the Corki. They're going to be hitting hard later on in the game. I'm curious how they're going to be able to execute these team fights. Here we go, though.
Oh, man, the Chains of Corruption is going to land. The Flash going to get used by OGBS, as we do get a lot of damage, and the exhaustion onto Shirayuki. Going to be able to get out of that one. No, he will not. He will end up dying as the explosive cast disengages the fight just as the dragon was spawning, so the ADC will not be available for 420 to use. However, it does look like the members of 420 are now in the area to potentially maybe go in for a cheeky play. They do have side of it with the Scuttle Crab, and they're going to try to go for it. It looks like Tybe is in the area. Now Chen is going to try to be able to get into the area himself. Eric EX can use the Cyclone, but it will be the smite from Eric EX to be able to get the kill, and the kill on to the Singed. It's going to be Eric EX being able to survive. Still, they do get the slow onto Kana. It's going to be the Corki trying to be able to get away and will be able to survive. So all 5 members of Brawl Stars able to go in for the disengage. Corey GG with some nice slows. The package actually getting used because Corki may be worried about the potential re-engage. Brawl Stars tie up the gold and are able to get this back to basically an even game.
Yeah, Shirayuki, I think maybe thought he was outside the Chains of Corruption there. Gets caught by it. That's the problem with the Vayne. The range is so low. Flash still not available from that nice play earlier on there. Gets punished, gets caught, and bursted down immediately. They parlay that right into the Drake take, and they get a kill on the Singed as well. Nice play by Brawl Stars. Still down just a little bit of gold here, and you have to be worried about the scaling. I'd say it's pretty decent on both teams, but a Poke Varus versus a Vayne that's got 2, 3, 4 items, it's not going to be much contest in a full-on 5v5. But the problem is Vayne really usually wants a front line to fire away from behind. They don't quite have that. The Singed is going to do a decent job, but when I look at the Gragas and the Wukong with the Seraphine, to me, that's a little bit better of a front to back. So I'm curious how these fights play out. We'll do a chance to see the replay here. I mean, the Singed just going wherever he wants, walking right in there, but there's no smite available. I'm curious if potentially Tybe, Thrill of the Hunt was available. Yeah, he paused at the very end there. I wonder if he should have been the one looking to dive in and maybe look for a smite steal. I don't know. It's just a random Cloud Drake. You have to wonder if that would be worth it or not. At the end of the day, it is Brawl Stars that kind of win in every respect there, but both teams still being pretty careful, not going all the way for the 5v5 that could result in either team getting potentially aced or close to it. Not just yet, but I have a feeling that that is coming, especially having watched the last series, which had so many crazy fights. And now, looking for Rengar, potentially. Ooh.
Eric EX able to get Thrill the Hunt taken away from Tybe. OGBS gonna use that piercing arrow. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of damage already on it to Black Camel. But no one gonna go down. But I want to shout out again Mali Uwu, really showing his depth of a champion pool here. He is 4-0-0, has 3 items already, is 2,000 gold in the lead against any other player on the Rift, has 3 items picked up with the Lich Bane and now the Rapid Fire Cannon as well. I mean, Mali Uwu is obviously showing that he has the depth of range in terms of champion ability. Already going to be picking up the Rocket Belt alteration as well. I mean, this is big for Brawl Stars to be able to continue to keep up that positive momentum using the Twisted Fate effectively. And yeah, look at it. I mean, the wealthiest man on the Rift for 420 is Rengar. Playing on with Tybe 2-2 and 1,8900. It is a 2,000 gold lead for Mali Uwu playing on that Twisted Fate right now. And so he's going to have to play yet again a phenomenal game here if they want to be able to take game 1. They do have both dragons. They do have control of the Baron Pit for the time being. And they're going to be able to potentially find something here. Little scary. Nope, just going to be end up with the disengage again. But it is 420 with the gold lead right now with about 1,000 gold advantage.
Yeah, I mean, they're in a decent position despite all the kills going over to Brawl Stars. Now more items coming. The Solari Charge Blade coming through from the vein. I really like that. This has been an item a lot of people have been loving since it released just a couple of days ago. Nice pickup there with the combined with the Blade of the Rune King. Already this vein's going to be feeling fairly strong. The Encore, though, they're going to find time. Now they're looking for a fight.
Nice Cyclone, nice Encore, and the obliteration coming in as the Chains of Corruption are going to keep everyone in the area. Monarch trying to look for a nice explosive cast, going to get the body slam onto Kama, and it's going to be 4 members of the blue team going down, and the Singe going where he pleases, but unfortunately, he is not Mundo, and he's gonna go down to an unstoppable Mali Uwu. Eric EX will die for the cause, but that is all 5 members of 420 going down. Brawl Stars picking up the 3rd dragon of the game.
It just was comical there to see the Singe run through the end of the fight. But yeah, it's a really nice pick on Tybe here. They've done this a couple of times where they catch the Rengar first, and that's just complete disaster. The Chains of Corruption get almost every single member of 420. It's an ability that's so hard to deal with as the Vayne doesn't have any way to cleanse that or anything, just has to flash in the barriers, so has to play off the mechanics, hoping to just final hour tumble away or just flash away from the Chains of Corruption, but it just wipes through the whole team, combined with the Encore from the Seraphine that started that one off just to get the flash out of the Rengar. And 420, this is the problem with the team fights. They've been doing a nice job staying even on the gold, but the way to play these fights out, I'm honestly not sure. I mean, I don't know if they just need Singe in the side lane. They try to just like 1-4, maybe 1-1 with the Corki. It's really difficult to play these fights because it's very straightforward for Brawl Stars. It's something they've liked to do. They just like kind of a front to back, something that they can execute pretty well. With the Varus here, it's perfect. You got the Chains of Corruption. Everything just goes into those corridors again that I talk about, where it becomes just impossible to walk into them, and they just get chased down by Monarch and Eric EX. And shout out to Mali as well, really having an impact on Twisted Fate, a champion that might not traditionally be thought of as something you pop off with mechanically, but Mali is getting work done with the gold card coming in now.
Yep, Tybe is gonna just die. He tried to find something there and ends up going down. Beautiful Cyclone coming in from Eric EX, gonna try to get some more damage. As we do see Saryoshi going down, the explosive cast does not get the right angle, but it will end up being the kill on deck. Black Camel, 3 members of the blue team now dead. 420 looking for more as the body slam comes through. It's going to be the tank Monarch trying to be able to survive and barely survives. Mali Uwu's going to get the kill on Nakama. It will end up being the Singed, barely able to get out of that one. Oh no, this is disastrous for 420. And so, I mean, at this point in the game, it's a 3,000 gold lead, but the momentum is just all there for Brawl Stars. Baron, they don't feel comfortable for it. But I mean, Brawl Stars has gotten everything out of that one.
Yeah, so we see the fight here again. Shiryuki gets caught out on the Vayne, not able to dish out the damage. I mean, how do you approach these fights as the Vayne? He's just hitting the clone the whole time, and then the Encore comes through, and look at that. I mean, I don't want to blame him too much. I feel bad for the Vayne here. It's just so difficult to execute in these fights. I think they haven't built a real good comp for the Vayne. Vayne's fine into the tanks. That's exactly what she's for. But in these disjointed fights where it's Brawl Stars engaging and chasing them down, it's so difficult to play. I mean, hey, they do about the best they can in this tower dive here. They almost take down Monarch. The heal actually saves him. And yeah, nice little snipe there by Maliuwu on the Janna under the turret. But Brawl Stars just really continuing to advance that gold lead. And sure, you got nice scaling on 420, but at the end of the day, the team fight from Brawl Stars is huge. For 420, I think they have to try to find a pick on the side lanes, but Maliuwu has just not been vulnerable. 6-0 at 8. Even OGBS on the Varus, who maybe you think potentially a Rengar could jump on him, has not died. They haven't been able to find the picks that potentially they could with the Rengar, and it's going to be a major challenge. Here they go, though.
Oh, no, nope. Maliuwu is safe. He's just fine. He is going to end up getting engaged on by the Rengar and finally ends up going down, but so much getting used to be able to get that shutdown. That is a big shutdown, though. They do end up getting a lot of damage out of that one, a lot of gold being able to taken care of. And so 420 with a nice engagement, the Change of Corruption to come through on to combo, but it's not going to be enough as we do get the team fight coming in. A lot of damage on Sara Yoshi trying to be able to get away.
Oh.
No, he won't be able to get anyone. OGBS is going to go unstoppable, and the Singe will die as Monarch goes on to a killing spree. It's going to be trying to be able to get away from that one. Eric EX is going to try to go in for the the extended engagement onto Black Camel. Nicely slowed coming in from Corey GG. It's going to end up being 3 members of the blue team now dead. It will end up being a kill on to the Seraphine, though, as we do end up getting the Guardian Angel getting popped. Chain of Corruption is back online, and it will end up being another kill coming through from Tybe. So he does pick up the kill on to Corey and on to Eric EX, but OGBS is still alive. The lead is now there for Brawl Stars as they pick up the Elder Infernal Soul, arguably the most powerful Elder Drake that is there on the Rift. So good to see.
Yeah, so this starts off exactly how 421. Initially, we thought potentially Maliuwu would be okay, but here comes time. Thrill the Hunt burned here. And remember that cooldown, because this fight lasts so long, essentially, that Thrill the Hunt actually comes back and is used again at the end of the fight. But it's so disjointed, which I think is probably how 420 wants it. They don't want to just straight up walk into all these guys with all the cooldowns burned. Chains of Corruption doesn't really get anything, but the Encore does find a few. Unfortunately, the Vayne, again, is just going to be caught out here. When you're walking in 1v4 as the Vayne, it's just, it's not going to end well, unfortunately. And Tybe really looking for the miracle plays here, and you'll see it towards the end of this fight, does find them. They kite back effectively with the help of the Janna. They keep them away. They do lose the Corki at the end of the day. Now here comes Tybe. They actually get 2 kills at the end of that, which we didn't get a chance to see, but they get 2 kills at the end of that. Here we have another fight.
Oh, what an encore. Oh my God. A beautiful 3-man encore is going to end up getting 4 members of 420 dead. My God.
Oh, man.
That is a beautiful play coming through. Corey GG with a highlight encore. Gonna pick up all 5 members of 420. The ace is there. We don't even have time to talk about that last fight because Brawl Stars is looking to push forward with that Infernal Elder Drake, and they're gonna win the game off of that fight.
That is going to be it. The Nexus is under fire. Nobody to defend it. Brawl Stars, after a 2-1 victory, they pick up a victory here in game number 1. Get a replay of this last fight. You said it, Moose. Massive encore. This is one of those corridors that is just perfect for Seraphine. For Varus too, honestly, is exactly what they want. They're able to just dive forward. Maliuwu, 8-1-11. Shout out to OGBS. They are piloting the Varus as well, dishing out a ton of pain and just making it so hard for the Vayne to play. 0-5-1 there for Shirayuki. They never got the kind of team fight pop-off moment that Vayne can have. She's able to kind of dance around in these fights, have somebody to protect her, be able to play with that range effectively. The range, when you look at the TF, the rapid fire cannon for Maliuwu, you've got the Varus Chains of Corruption and the poke coming through the Encore. The range advantage was huge here for Brawl Stars, and they just cleaned up so many of those fights. and played around the map pretty effectively as well, grabbing a lot of different objectives. I know they bit off a little bit more than they can chew with that one Rift Herald, but for the most part, they were picking up all these Drakes. They got the Elder Infernal at the end, which was, as you said, Moose, basically game over. A very clean game from Brawl Stars, and I think certainly threatening a 2-0 with that performance for sure. 420 has got to make some adaptations here in the draft.
Yeah, I said it at the very beginning of the draft. I think that this is more of a, I think a little bit more of an experimental draft coming in from 420. Like this is not a classic draft that you're gonna see. Like this is something that you go for to try to test your limits, limit testing, maybe seeing if you're able to take these wins off of Brawl Stars with a combination that is not going to be meta. I mean, you got the Vayne, you've got the Rengar, you got the Singed, you got the Quirky. I mean, all of them can be effective, but together it's just a really bad stew. And it ends up being Brawl Stars being able to just win that game. 420 with the better, laning, the better CS. They had the gold lead despite the gold disadvantage, or despite the kill disadvantage. But I mean, there just came a point where Brawl Stars combination, their comp was just too good. Eric EX, Monarch, Mally, all performing exceptionally well throughout the fight. A 6-0 and 10 on the Varus. But I do agree with the game in this one. I think Maliu was definitely the MVP. Started off strong with that big double kill in the top lane against Tide and Chim. And it ends up being a good win for Brawl Stars. And that is going to be one win now for them moving into game number 2. All they have to do is win 1 out of the next 2 games, and they are in the grand finals against Tribe. We're going to take a quick break before we jump into that next game, and so we'll see you guys shortly.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we might actually just stay here. These breaks between the games have been pretty short. We'll see if our producer has a message on that. But I do want to jump into that gold graph. How many times have we seen that gold graph in Brawl Stars games? Every time it's like other teams up 2,000 gold, and then whoop, there comes the Brawl Stars lead every time. And really well played. And you mentioned MVP for Mali, well earned. I got to tack onto that because they tried to ban out Mali to some degree. They banned away the Katarina, they banned away the Lucian. So this is somebody that they were trying to target ban, and the champion pool, the champion ocean, seemingly for Mali Uwu, is there popping off on the Twisted Fate. So the question is, I mean, what do you even do here for the adaptations? I think one thing to point out, and I'll echo what you said, Moose, that this does seem rather experimental from 420 in the draft. The Vayne, very unconventional pick. I think Corki, historically, a strong pick and Wild Rift competitive, but you have to wonder if they wouldn't prefer to build more of a traditional front-to-back comp, especially with something like the Corki or the Vayne that are going to want that. So I'm expecting a very different draft from 420 this time around, but we're going to get a chance to see it because we have loaded into the draft for game number 2. Everything on the line now for 420 because match point for Brawl Stars 2-0, and they move on to the grand finals against Tribe. 420, they have got to strike back as the bans start to come through. Wukong and Camille banned away. They've been such a force in the games we've gotten a chance to watch today. Gragas banned away as well, and continuing with some bans against Maliu. I wonder if we will see Lucian looks like will be left open. Katarina still banned away.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, like, we've seen so many different champions used effectively by Mali. I mean, you don't, yeah, you take away the Katarina, yeah, you take away the Ziggs, but, you say, okay, whatever he's got, we're just going to have to play around it. We're going to just have to expect that he's going to be able to perform well. Let's just put in a solid combination. Let's see what we can find. We got a Olaf pick immediately from Eric EX. I like the pickup. I think, it goes into a lot of different comps that we've been seeing. Black Camel,
they want the Olaf
looking
again.
like he might be able to pick it up.
Oh.
No, it's going to end up being Graves coming in along with Tybe picking up the Diana. Now, this is a champion. These are 2 champions that we have not seen on the Rift yet in this tournament. So yet again, we're going to be seeing some different combinations coming in from 420. Mali Uwu on the Lucian, going to pick that one up with OGBS picking up the Senna. This is looking, again, another good draft for Brawl Stars as 420 playing even more on the cusp, on the cutting edge. Chimbe has the Akali hovered. I don't know if we're actually going to see an Akali ribbon now. That would be cool to see, and we are going to see the ribbon as Kana picks up the Nami. Oh man, I like 420's style. I don't know how effective it's gonna be, but I like their style with some really fun champions getting picked up.
I was going to say the Seraphine has got to be coming through, not banned away, not picked away. This is almost the exact same comp the Brawl Stars played, and what I would say was their most dominant game that we've seen them in today. The Varus going to be locked in now for 420, so they are taking that one away. But Brawl Stars, this is a perfect comp for them. This time around, they have the Malphite instead of the Camille. I think it's a perfectly good adaptation, especially when you're looking at Graves Riven Varus. He's going to be pretty happy building the armor. We'll have to wait and see this time around as, yeah, so it is going to be Tybe. I'm curious if we're going to see some swaps coming through because Tybe was jungling previously. So maybe, again, some kind of role swaps here potentially as Tybe maybe looking to lane mid there with the Diana into Maliuwu's Lucian, which sounds like a very, very rough time. We're going to be loading in the ref. We're going to find out exactly how rough of a time it's going to be if 420 can strike back here or if Brawl Stars, they got the rise on a 2-0 and they got the comp to do it that they've already won with.
No, I think that this is a deliberate action coming in from 420. Tybe played exceptionally well, or at least the best out of anyone else on 420's roster in that last game with that Rengar. And so this is the tactic. You have Maliuwu playing in the mid lane. You put him up against the best player that you've got, objectively speaking, on 420, and so Tybe is going to pick up that Diana. It's a jungle champion that can be used in the mid lane, so I like the pickup. Put Black Camel, a potentially weaker player, into the mid lane, or into the jungle, I mean, so potentially have a little bit better of a time, able to get him going early on, and he already wants to try to go in for some harassment against Eric EX on that Olaf. I don't know if this is going to be the good play, though, as Eric EX is now in the area. The smite is now there. Black Camel trying to do what he can, but Eric's is going to pick up the red buff,
Oh, no.
and now Black Camel is going to go down.
Oh.
Eric EX survives and gets first blood.
That was so close. You can see Black Camel trying to stack up the grit there, but the level 2, I thought it might be enough here, even though it's Eric that gets caught out here. He gets to level 2, and he's got the red buff slow. So Black Camel, he's tried his best here. He's trying to reload, and OGBS was there even at the end to keep Eric alive. It's a disaster here for Black Camel on the Graves, going for the invade as top side. Ignite was burned there, but it looks like Jim will be okay on the Riven for the time being. I'm so happy we're seeing the Riven, though. I love it when we see some of these newer champions come through. I mean, even Lucian, really a rather new champion. We saw Renekton earlier. Super fun. Monarch gets the fruit now. It's going to be pretty healthy. Here we go.
Oh, wants the kill, and will he get it against Chimbe? No, he's going to be extremely low. Going to just use the seismic shards to try to get the extra movement speed as Black Camel tries to redeem himself. The flash. Ooh. To be able to get away, Monarch is going to be just fine. And I mean, for Monarch, he's okay with using these summoner spells. The goal against the Riven is not to beat her. The goal is to be able to make sure that she does not get fed. So any kills that you're able to avoid, any options that they have, denying that is going to be big. As Maliuwu wants the kill maybe on a Black Camel. We've got Eric X in the area. Black Camel's going to have to disengage. And so a great play coming in from Maliuwu, making sure that the Graves is unable to get out and get that Scuttle Crab. So again, another good heads-up play coming in from Brawl Stars as we see Monarch. He gets the extra movement speed with that Seismic Shard and be able to slow down and will be able to get away from Black Camel, who just doesn't have enough oomph in the tank to be able to get that kill. And now it looks like maybe a play in the river. Nope, gonna be just fine.
Yeah, so really heads up play there by Maliuwu to help secure the crab, the battle for the crab there. No double scuttle this time around, but really a nice start for Brawl Stars. I mean, when you got the Graves, he walks into the Olaf's red buff and the Olaf just kills him. I was gonna say that's just really bad news, but what's bad news for Brawl Stars is that the Riven just killed the Malphite. You talked about not wanting to let the Riven get ahead. Unfortunately, that's a flashless Malphite that just got smacked with that Riven blade. So Chim feeling pretty good at this point. Got my eyes on Black Camel to see what else can be done here. Getting that kill there onto Monarch there, well, kind of facilitating that for Chim by burning the flash earlier on is a really nice start here. It's going to make this game just about dead even. Question as well is, can Maliuwu find some more advantages here? Right now is up About 400 gold, so feeling pretty good. But I think Mally is going to want more than that as the player that this team just kind of plays through so continually. The hard carry in so many games for Brawl Stars. A lot of eyes are going to be on Mally Uwu, and potentially some fights are going to be there, some opportunities as we're 15 seconds away from Rift Herald and Cloud Drake.
Yeah, I mean, so for that last fight against Monarch, I mean, yes, he does die. He's going to be able to pick up the next part of that Rod of Ages. Unfortunately, I mean, that's just an unfortunate situation there. 420 going to make the immediate decision to go towards the Rift Herald, which I think is a good choice. Monarch is now behind in the lane. I mean, there's no way that he's going to be able to win that one. And so there's going to be immediate priority for 420. Brawl Stars with a heads-up decision, going to go for the Cloud Drake. So it's going to be a swap of objectives. 420 now going to have to play carefully in the bottom lane right now. Should be okay. Monarch is going to potentially have the decision go for the dive on Sariyoshi, as Eric EX does have Ragnarok up. This could potentially be an unstoppable force, and the engage on it to this bottom lane, as we do get the immediate use of the Rift Herald in the top lane. Nicely done from Sariyoshi to be able to flash, or Shirayuki to be able to flash away, as we get the Broken Blade going to get popped. OGBS is going to get a nice root, and it's going to be a lot of damage onto Chimbe. Not going to be able to get that kill as we do get the tower going down. What a beautiful stun coming in from Chinbei as the Dawning Shadows comes through to make it a 1-for-1. Actually, no, a 2-for-1 as Diana goes down as well. Tide coming into the fight. Not going to be able to get that one. Monarch in the top lane, or pardon me, not Monarch in the top lane. It's Monarch in the bottom lane being able to make that a 2-for-1 play.
Yeah, so it was nice by Shirayuki. They kite away here, and they're just buying time, because meanwhile, Mally Uwu actually does go down here towards the end of that fight. It's hard to do all the math with how long these fights last. Shirayuki flashes away from the unstoppable force really nicely there. Eric EX doesn't have mana for the Ragnarok, otherwise he probably would have chased that down. So now Chim goes in here. They find a nice stun, but again, the power of the Senna Seraphine is just so huge. Even when you find a nice play like that, where they get the stun, they get the Chains of Corruption, they still get the 2-man encore with the Dawning Shadow over the top, which is able to just turn it back a little bit in Brawl Stars' favor. But 420 are not going down without a fight. They're actually up a little bit in gold right now, and having 2 kills onto that Riven feels pretty good. Mally Uwu, on the other hand, 1-1 on the Lucian right now, not having the pop-up performance just yet. And ooh, just nearly goes down there in mid lane. Very, very close. So, yeah, I mean,
that was a big save. I'm sorry to cut you off there. That was a big save from OGBS. Actually healing up Mally at the very last moment. Collateral damage getting used by Black Camel, just unable to get the kill. And so in that last fight, we actually saw Mally get dove on by Tide. It was a all-in attempt. We saw flashes getting used. We saw Moonfall getting used. We saw the Coaling. You didn't see it, but it was on the minimap. The dive coming in from Tide to make it a 1-for-1 there. And then on top of that, you see 420. They picked up the Rift Herald, and they were like, okay, we have all this action going on bottom lane. We're going to take the first tower of the game topside, and they get the second Shelly headbutt into tier 2 tower. So a great use of Shelly in this game for 420, as it does look like we are getting some pings coming through. Tybe is going to be able to get the Crescent Strike on to Mally, but does not go in on that. And so, you know, looking at everything right now, the blue team, you know, Brawl Stars, they are trying to be able to keep this game in their favor, but the switch from Tybe to go into the mid lane, I think, is really good.
Here we go, though. Dawning Shadow is going to be a flash away. I think that may be all she wrote, but both these teams so even here in game number 2. Could go either way. Definitely a big change from game number 1, where for the most part it was all Brawl Stars. I think the 2 people to keep your eyes on are going to be Chim BT on the Riven versus Mally Uwu on the Lucian. And again, you just see him throwing out the emotes there. I think suspects perhaps that Tybe is there and has OGBS waiting in the wings. Here we go.
A little bit of damage. Didn't have the Moonfalls. We do get a little bit of an engage. Tidal Wave gonna end up getting missed. Gonna go right into the gutter there, as Black Camel is gonna get a lot of damage, as a beautiful encore comes in from Corey GG yet again. Is gonna be able to pick the kill up on the Black Camel. Chimbe is gonna die as well. And then a beautiful unstoppable force gonna get 3. Tybe is gonna go down, and it's gonna end up being 420. Disastrous in that fight.
Wow, a number of great plays there coming through from Brawl Stars. You see the power of the Son of Seraphine. They say, no, you're not allowed to disengage from a fight. The slows, the roots, the charms just continually come through. And the range is so insane that 420 just cannot get away when they realize, okay, Tidal Wave didn't connect. Let's back up. No, 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 no. You're not allowed to do that, unfortunately for them. And I think Maliwu, all things considered, nice bait here. I don't think they saw OGBS out of Fog of War. I'm not sure. ChimBT looks for the stun. Where have we seen that before? Riven gets a nice stun, but it doesn't wind up winning them the fight. Here comes the roots. Here come the encores, and the chase down is huge. And then watch. Okay, Monarch actually flashes just to be in this fight, and then he finds the big unstoppable force. He doesn't find Shirayuki, but it's enough to clean up the last bit of the fight for them. Make sure that Tybe does go down. Brawl Stars, what a surprise. Another big team fight win for them. They're starting to get a little bit further ahead in this game. 420, they still have every chance to clean things up and pick up a win here. But everything's on the line here in game 2. Again, Brawl Stars, match point. They want to go to the finals.
Yeah, and they do want to go into the finals, and they're pushing themselves into prime position to make that happen. Barrett is spawning in 15 seconds, and in this next fight, Tybe is going to have Moonfall. That was something that he did not have available in that last fight. I think that was something that he was trying to go for. Moonfall is that big knock-up ability to get everyone clumped together. As they try to be able to go in, Chimbe wanted to be able to get the kill maybe onto Corey GG. A nice use of the Zhonya's Hourglass as we get a nice charm, a good encore coming through. Tsuruyoshi is very low, and it will end up being Corey GG going down after taking a lot of time to make that happen. A lot of damage onto Chimbe, gonna get slowed by the seismic shard, and it will end up being maybe in a potential escape using the hops, using the dashes, and will actually survive that one. All of that effort to just get one support player. Really, really good performances coming in from Brawl Stars. 420 does end up getting the kill, but what else do they get out of that one? It's going to be a tower going down against them. Brawl Stars picking up kill in the interior tower in the bottom lane. It's now going to be Black Campbell potentially caught onto a bad spot. Is going to get rooted. Going to end up going down to the Senna Lucian combo. The marital discourse that we saw earlier in the bracket is now going to end up being the marriage of combination fights coming through. Chimbe now looking to go up against Monarch, but does not want that fight. Monarch's just a big old rocky boy. He'll be just fine.
Yeah, the power of the Malphite here. I mean, and this is only with the steel caps. I mean, he has mostly just built AP. It's going to be, okay, now the Sunfire does come through, so now he's starting to get some armor. He's already so tanky. And, okay, flash away from Tybe, and oh, here we go.
Nope, not going to be able to get it. Kama's going to get hit by the Encore. Man, that was almost really good coming in from Tybe, trying to be able to channel his inner Chimbe in that last little escape. Going to be able to try to get something. Gets a nice Moonfall, but it's just not enough damage. And Vest, I mean, it's a 4,000 gold lead for Brawl Stars.
Yeah, they're in great control of this game. They have the added benefit of the Drakes. They've been able to take some of these fights. They didn't get a ton of gold onto Maliu Wu, but here we go. He's going to gun somebody down.
Nope.
Somebody's going to gun him down.
Oh no, Eric EX. He will have the extra little bit of movement speed. Should be able to get out of this one, and the Hollow and Mist coming in from OGBS. So we'll be just fine there. Mali, you know, he wants to be able to have that highlight play again. He goes in for the culling on the Black Camel, gets a lot of damage, but unfortunately, it's 3 members of 420. He's not that fed. He's not that fed just yet. He's 2, 2, and 3.
He
and
wanted
so, you know,
to be.
He wanted to be, but, you know, Tybe was in the mid lane and really, you know, made it difficult for them to make that happen. Let's see if we do see a good play coming in from Monarch. The Unstoppable Force is ready. Chimbe wants to go in on to OGBS, but it's not going to be enough as the exhaustion comes out. Dragon is spawned. The fight is going to be up into the river. The Encore again is going to land into the Unstoppable Force. Tidal Wave is going to be able to get a little bit of slow, a little bit of knock up, but the Ragnarok gonna take down Kama, and now Shirayuki is gonna die as well. It's a triple kill for Eric EX. Chimbe will survive, and no one goes down against them. Brawl Stars, another flawless fight. 420, unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. And you see, I think, again, kind of like game number 1, 420, they're not sure entirely how to approach these fights. You can see their bot lane duo is trying to figure out what front do we want to go here. They're separated into a group of two, and a group of one. Just the Riven on the back side of that. Unfortunately, they lose every single one. The peel away. OGBS just continually, Chim jumps on him twice in this fight, never even really threatens the Senna's life. And unfortunately, that's the thing with 420, they don't really have a front line. They have a Riven, and then they have a lot of backline and a Diana that can have a big impact, but doesn't really have a lot to support her to kind of facilitate that engage. And we saw that play out in these disjointed fights. It was Brawl Stars that kind of stuck together. I think the communication was there. OGBS is saying, hey, I got a Riven on me, but no worries, we're fine. You know, they don't break formation effectively, and now Brawl Stars have broken this up into a 6,000 gold lead. They're feeling really good. Monarch is stacking even more armor here, and the only one with any kind of real gold advantage here, Varus and Riven. What are they? Physical damage. And meanwhile, down goes a Black Camel on the sideline there, got chased down by Eric EX. Feels bad for 420 right now. They have to win this game. They are at match point, but it's so difficult. How do you get through the Malphite with no front line? They're trying. Here we go.
What a dodge on that Moonfall as the Encore comes through. Kama's going to be in a bad spot as Maliu ends up going down. A lot of damage as Jinbei is still alive. Shiryugi's going to get knocked up by the Unstoppable Force and will end up going down. And now it's going to be Jinbei being able to get the kill on to OGBS. The shutdown is there, but meanwhile in the bottom lane, Eric EX is going to pick up the inhibitor tower, going to be able to get super minions spawned up into 420's base, very close to potentially getting another tower to go down, as well as Jinbei not going to be able to get on to Corey GG. The Seraphine just has too much movement speed and will end up being able to survive.
Yeah, the question is, how do you get through the Malphite? Well, you wait till he's not even there. Neither he nor Olaf are there. The 1-3-1 is in full effect here, but you can see the peel back capabilities here. Some nice Zhonya's, nice stopwatches used there by Brawl Stars to just buy enough time for Monarch to just wander over here. And in comes the Malphite to try to turn this fight. At the end of the day, it's a 2 for 2. If you're 420, you will take that, but they're still just hemorrhaging structures left and right. What they need is a team fight win. At this point, they may just be down too much gold to do it. The objectives are going to go to Brawl Stars 100% of the time now, unless you get some kind of miracle steal from Black Camel. And I just don't see it happening, because how does he walk in here? I mean, the Graves, how does he walk through the Senna Seraphine? How does he walk through the Malphite, who is just gigantic? He's an absolute tank right now in every sense of the word. You can see even the Diana attacking him is not going to get through that health very quickly, especially with the Senna Seraphine healing him up. So 420, they're looking for a miracle right now to try to take us to match point, but Brawl Stars, they're trying to put those final nails in the coffin. Baron in 25, they get a flash at a Shiryuki, and the Chains of Corruption will keep the Varus safe, but man, could have some action mid lane too.
Yeah, a little bit of action mid lane. It will end up being the Olaf, making it a 1-for-1. He uses that Ragnarok to be able to get the kill on to Tybe. Monarch is down. He did use his Unstoppable Force, and now Jinbei will die as well, trying to be able to escape, but this time it is not going to be enough, and it will end up being Maliu finally getting some revenge onto Jinbei for escaping too many times in that game. Baron is alive. The Infernal Soul is, or the Infernal Elder Drake is now potentially available for Brawl Stars to get it as well. This game is over. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. This game is over, and unfortunately, 420 trying to do what he can. I'm not going to be able to get it. The miracle play might have been there as Kama just gets sliced and diced into sushi, barely able to waddle away. Kama with just very little health in that engagement, as we do end up getting to see how Black Camel dies again. Yeah. I mean, Encore gets used, so I mean, that's a small consolation prize, but the Nexus is going to be the big win for Brawl Stars. One final potential engagement coming through, but Eric EX is just going to be able to pop Ragnarok and will be just fine. Will end up being a legendary play coming in from Eric EX on the Olaf. Started off strong, takes the kill against Black Camel in the early game, and ends up helping give Brawl Stars a beautiful 2-0 set advantage against 420.
Yeah, nice pre-clean 2-0 from Brawl Stars overall. 420. I like seeing all this uniqueness in the draft, but unfortunately, it really didn't work for them in either game. I think these fights were disjointed. They weren't sure how to play out these kind of unusual comps here. And I mean, it kind of went wrong from minute one this time around with Black Camel invading and dying to Eric EX. But we just saw as well with so much physical damage here, the Malphite is just having a wonderful, wonderful time against that. And I mean, you can't blame Black Camel at the end there looking for the Baron Steel, down like 15,000 gold. You got to look for some kind of miracle. Actually got a little bit close to getting into the pit, but wasn't enough. And Brawl Stars, they're really showing the power of this comp. They've showed the ability to win with a couple of different kind of team fight comps, a couple of different looks here. But I think at the end of the day, this comp in particular has been the one where they looked the most dominant on. I was waiting to see the Seraphine come back because it looked so good earlier in the tournament. And it kind of disappeared for a little bit. Now Seraphine back once again, the Seraphine Senna combination in particular. You talked about it as well, the Lucian Senna, the husband and wife duo, really wreaking havoc there. And Eric EX actually doing a ton of damage on the Olaf. That's the thing. When they got this kind of front to back comp, they can just chase them down. And there's what peel is going to come through from 420? I mean, Chains of Corruption, maybe a tidal wave. That's not going to stop an Olaf, though. So Brawl Stars with a exciting pair of games and a very impressive pair of victories here to send them to the finals, where they're going to face off against Tribe Gaming for the grand prize 420. They're headed to the third place match to decide just how much money they are going to be walking away with at the end of the day.
They get well, no, they are third place. That is going to be they are
Oh,
the third place finisher because this is
okay.
the losers finals matchup. It's Celestials with fourth place, going to be $100 prize for them. $250 is a nice payday for 420, being able to at least get into the losers finals. But it will be Brawl Stars and Tribe facing off against each other, and I think arguably probably the two teams that should be there. Brawl Stars played phenomenal in the game against Celestials, played really well. I mean, in this game against 420. And again, if you're 420, you gotta look to, unfortunately, you gotta look to Maliu Wu in that first game, but you gotta look to Black Camel as your jungler. You switch Tybe into the mid lane to go up against Mali to be able to deny him, and you did. You denied him pretty much throughout the first 15 minutes of the game, but unfortunately, Black Camel going into the jungle, it's either not a pick that he's too familiar with, or he's just not on the same level as Eric EX, but the lane that Black Camel was in was the lane that carried the game for Brawl Stars. In the first game, it was Maliu Wu, and in the second game, it was Eric EX. I thought, Black Camel was going to be able to perform really well, but, playing as the Graves, starting off with that really weird engagement, really weird roam and invade into Olaf's combination or into Olaf's territory. You're not gonna win against an early game champion like the Olaf with the assist coming in from OGBS. And unfortunately, he goes 0-6 in the game, and Eric EX is able to have a phenomenal highlight game. And so, 420 gonna have to go back to the drawing board, probably gonna have to review those games and see where they went wrong, because the potential is there for them to do really well, but they weren't able to make it happen in that one. We are going to take a quick break, however. Vest and I are going to be excited to go into the grand finals matchup. Tribe Gaming versus Brawl Stars Pros coming in for our grand finals matchup. You guys do not want to miss it. We will be back again in about 10 minutes to get ourselves started with game number 1. So we'll be right back. See you guys soon. Sounds good. Let's do.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our coverage of the MGA Wild Rift Copa America. We are ready now for the grand finals matchup. Tribe Gaming versus Brawl Stars Pros. I've gotten a chance to watch Brawl Stars Pros all through the day. Today they play a very exciting variety of League of Legends Wild Rift. They're very into these team fight comps that are very, very fun to watch, and they've been so effective with it as well. Right now, we're waiting on teams to get ready, but draft should not be too far away. Moose, this looks like a very mouth-watering matchup, if you ask me.
It's gonna be a fun one for sure. And I mean, regardless of the outcome of this game, Brawl Stars going to get at least, what is that, 7 games at least of commentary and casting. I mean, they're getting way value out, a lot of value out of this one. We have been seeing them dominate these last couple of matches, losing only 1 game to Celestials, which does draw a little bit of concern going up against Tribe and trying to be able to get those and get this win against them. It is a best-of-3 series, and so there is always that chance for the comeback if whoever loses game number 1. But, you know, regardless of what's happened so far, Brawl Stars has shown that they are a formidable team. They've got a lot of different players that are able to do different things. You know, in that first set, we saw Celestials play really some interesting combinations, and Maliu was just able to perform really well in the mid lane. Here in that last matchup against 420, Maliu wasn't necessarily the most prominent member of the matchup, but you had Kali GG and you saw Eric EX perform exceptionally well, pitting in multi-man encores, multi-man cyclones, multi-man kills. Monarch has been a stable top laner, and we've seen a lot of great performances coming in from OGBS, has stayed as consistent as well, having some really, really good fights, having some really good engagements, and are looking to be able to finish the job and get themselves the first place prize. Now, remember, for the first place finisher, and the prize is going to be for first place $500. That's $100 a person, maybe a little bit less if one of these teams has a coach or maybe some producers or anyone. Maybe slide a couple of dollars over to the casters. We'll see for a tip or something. And then $400 for second place. Gonna get, you know, a decent amount of money as well. And so both these teams having a really solid day, a really, really good performance, and you know, Tribe, we haven't seen them play yet today, but if you guys are familiar with the Wild Rift scene, if you guys are familiar with what they do in terms of winning tournaments effectively, I mean, you guys know how well they are. They're one of the premier Wild Rift teams starting off. They have done exceptionally well on a bunch of different tournaments, and now they're going to be looking to face off against Brawl Stars and win another one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Tribe Gaming have been favorites in a lot of tournaments, and now the Copa America, at least for the North America, Latin America North division, no surprise. We will be, as a reminder, we'll be checking out the Latin America South and Brazil division finals tomorrow, which should be really hype. But for now, Tribe Gaming versus Brawl Stars Pros. Certainly Tribe Gaming, they're always going to be heavyweights. They're always going to be titans here in any kind of matchup they're walking into. But Brawl Stars Pros have shown some real capability of winning. You mentioned there's a couple question marks, such as against Team Celestials. Those were some bloody games. And honestly, I mean, I almost want to say it was like 1.5 games apiece. Brawl Stars Pros won it in the end, and they did it fairly convincingly, but some of those games were so back and forth, and Brawl Stars Pros consistently were falling behind in the early game. You have to wonder if that happens against a team like Tribe Gaming, if potentially they won't be able to come back. But we'll see. One of the question marks that got answered for me in the last game we got to see, and I was glad we got to see this, was if Mali Uwu does not get ahead, can Brawl Stars Pros win?
Oh
Absolutely,
yeah.
if we watch the last game. And that was nice to see different facets from them. Meliu on the same Lucian was able to carry with earlier on, but this time it was Eric EX on the Olaf that got a chance to absolutely pop off, did the most damage in the game, if I remember correctly. So showing some different angles that Brawl Stars pros can come at you with, I think that's going to be very valuable here against Tribe Gaming in particular. I do briefly want to shout out, and I want to point out, of course, credit to all these last 4 teams that have made it. They all get a share in part of that cash prize, deservingly so. It's a long tournament, and fighting their way all the way this far is impressive. The question is, of these final 2 teams, who's the most impressive? Who is the champion? We shouldn't be too far away from draft here. We'll get you guys updates on that before we jump in, but there's a lot to dive into about this matchup. In particular, I do wonder if Brawl Stars pros will still go for the same approach that's kind of been working for them. One thing I'd point out for 420, even though they lost 2-0, I did like the spirit of adventure, one might say, with some of their drafts. I wonder if potentially scrims behind the scenes, they were expecting to be underdogs against Brawl Stars. Maybe they thought, we've got to try something unexpected. We've got to try some new stuff here to try to find an advantage. I mean, certainly the level 1 invade with the Graves was very unexpected. The stuff didn't work out, but sometimes trying some of those unexpected picks is a route to win, especially in this case. I think a lot of people would expect Brawl Stars pros to be the underdogs, even though they've had some impressive showings today. So I will be curious to see what kind of approach they take, especially as we get further into the series too. Still a best of 3 series, but there's the opportunity to drop a game, make some adaptations there potentially. So we'll see exactly what Brawl Stars pros wants to bring to the table, and if Tribe Gaming is interested in banning away something like, I don't know, the Seraphine, some of this stuff that's been just massive for Brawl Stars.
Yeah, the Seraphine has been massive, and we appreciate you guys' patience. We're just waiting on getting a couple of more things figured out. Going to be getting into the game hopefully fairly soon. Shout out again to the production team here at the Mobile Gaming Association, being able to front the funds and give us the opportunity to be able to cast for you guys. It has been a phenomenal tournament. It has been observed and produced extremely well here not only in today's games, but just overall in the tournament in general. I've been very impressed with their ability. If you guys are wanting to find a premier mobile gaming organization, MGA is by far, a really strong organization that I've casted with, and one of the best that I've seen in terms of tournament-wise organization. Not only being able to pick up the tournament and make it a double elimination draft, that players are able to come back and commit to, which is, I think, a big deal. A lot of teams, when they lose that first round in a double elimination game, they tend to, say, hey, we don't want to play anymore. We're done. Whatever. But, last weekend we had a ton of really good games. We had a really fun bracket. Really not a lot of hiccups coming through. Not a lot of hiccups in today as well. But it does look like we are, coming to the conclusion. This is the grand finals. And I wish I had more information on Tribe. I feel bad because I didn't watch any of Tribe's games 2 weeks ago. So I don't know what they're bringing to the table in this particular tournament. But we've seen Brawl Stars come through, which is, I think, one of the reasons why I've been talking about them so much here in this early game. Trying to just be able to get some things figured out, and that's part of the deal when you get a mobile game. So hopefully, no worries. Hopefully, you guys will stick with us, and we appreciate you guys' patience as always. I mean, for me, I think that I think that I lost my train of thought. No, but Vest, I mean, it's been great casting with you so far. I think we've had a really good run of it, and these players have really been living up to the hype.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been having a ton of fun. And in particular today, I think as is fitting, journeying all the way to the finals here, these have been some of the best games of the entire tournament. Brawl Stars pros putting on a show, and Team Celestial and 420 as well, giving us these very bloody games. You mentioned what to expect for Tribe Gaming. I can't claim to be a Tribe Gaming expert, but based on what we saw in the upper bracket, at least in the best of ones, the thing that jumped out to me the most about them was their objective control, which can be so key. We see in all these games that the Rift Heralds and the Drakes tend to be those sites that teams want to fight over. Tribe, I think, has a very good grasp of how to establish control, put all the wards down, get the vision, and just establish complete dominance in an area in time for these Drakes and Rift Heralds to come up. And that can be huge because it means that if you try to venture into the tribe territory and mess with them, you can just wind up getting wiped or losing a couple champions, fallen further behind. Brawl Stars pros, we have seen some instances where they're willing to give up these Drakes, but I think for the most part, they have not been shy about contesting, not been shy about starting these fights. But I think a lot of that will depend on the comps that these two teams try to go for. I have to assume that Brawl Stars Pros will again go for one of these very strong 5v5 comps. There's just not enough champions to ban out. The focus on Malau just doesn't matter. The Aurelia is there. I know that one was a loss, but I honestly thought he looked fairly good on the Aurelia, at least mechanically. The Katarina was huge. The Lucian was huge. So there's all these champions that I think they're able to play that work pretty well in these comps. I do think there's some key kind of screws that if you remove from the contraption, the whole thing might come apart a little bit. I think we talked about the Seraphine. I do think the Senna is pretty big as well. And the Olaf can be big. There's not a lot of other champions that are just as unpeelable in the event that is Brawl Stars advancing towards you. So I'm curious what bans will come through. A lot of these teams have been focusing at least a number of their bans on. Actually, I believe we did get the ban. We did get the bans. Okay, so Malphite, Ziggs, Gragas, and Olaf were banned away. So I am happy to see the Olaf banned away, I presume by Tribe Gaming. Knowing that there's not a lot of champions exactly like Olaf. There's other dive champions, but nobody with that Ragnarok that makes him so unique. So I think taking that away is smart. It leaves the Seraphine open, but at least you know that potentially you can try to kite back a little bit more. The Encore can still be huge. I think the question is, what jungler will they take with the Olaf gone? The Wukong is open. Eric EX has shown a lot of comfort on that pick, so that would be my expectation, is that we do see the Wulaf. Yes, the combination, they fuse together. It's like that. You ever see that Pokemon like combiner website where you can take two Pokemon and just combine, and it makes one. Just plug them in. Make that for League of Legends.
Nope. Nope, absolutely not. I will stick with Ultimate Spellbook as my only little fusion of champion abilities. I do not want to see a Wukong or an Olaf with Ragnarok and Cyclone. That would just be too much. I would just dominate at the jungle. They would not be killable. They would just, I mean, they would not lose in the 1v1 most likely. But no, we don't have that play. And I think, looking at the way that it was talked about, I think that Olaf was actually banned by Brawl Stars. Brawl Stars is going to be the red team, which does mean that Tribe Gaming does get first pick, which makes sense. It makes sense. You don't want to give that first pick over to the other team, to the blue team, who gets that first pick available. And so you want to be able to take away the Olaf, because the Olaf would be a really solid first pick. Ziggs obviously going to be another one of those, you must either pick or ban the champion. He's way too strong. Whatever nerfs you've done to him, it doesn't matter. And AoE Mega Inferno Bomb is just too big. It's too good. It's too strong. But, like you said, the Camille is still out there. We're still waiting on one ban, but it does look like we are about ready to begin. Should be about started in about 60 seconds or so. We still have about one ban ready to go for us here in this one. Gragas is not going to be available, so Camille is definitely going to be an option in the top lane. If we get a good Darius in the top lane, that could potentially be good. Renekton's going to be available as well. But for like a first pick, like, the Fiora as well, not going to be out. The Garen is still available, but Garen maybe not necessarily as prominent as he was. That's going to be the big question, is I think, ban out the Olaf, make sure that it's not going to be available. There's still going to be a lot of options available for Tribe to use. It's all just about making sure that, those first couple of picks are used effectively.
Ooh, here we go.
Both these teams. And there we go. We are about ready to begin it. Regardless of who banned out the Olaf is not going to be in this game. Regardless of who banned out the Gragas is not going to be available. So both these teams are looking to potentially be able to get themselves a good win here today. Game number 1 is now on the line. Potentially get yourself into a solid position moving through the match. Gragas, Malphite, obviously we're going to see those get taken out. We already know that the Ziggs is not going to be available. Are we going to get a double Olaf ban? We're getting a double Olaf ban saying, hey, no way, Jose, no one wants Olaf. Get that taken care of.
Yeah, I believe there's supposed to only be, we were informed there's supposed to only be 2 bans per side here. So I think this is just one side banned nothing, the other side just said we'll just echo your ban. So I think that, but you talked about the Camille. Lo and behold, Tribe locked that one in. I do wonder if the Seraphine is going to come in right away. I was kind of thinking that possibly Tribe could look to just first pick that one away. Looks like Seraphine is going to stay out of this draft for the time being, maybe waiting a little bit later. Lucian, who has been showing up repeatedly, might be the response here, but I'm glad for Brawl Stars they do get the Wukong to get Eric EX on that, very comfortable on that. Expecting potentially to be up against the Camille in the jungle, but I wonder if they do switch that up for the Camille top side. We've seen both throughout the tournament. Rakan going to be paired with the Lucian bot, we assume, but I do like some of this flexing with the Lucian and the Camille. There's the opportunity to put the Lucian mid as well, so Tribe not showing their whole hand just yet. And a couple champs you mentioned, Moose, already being hovered here. Renekton potentially. Oh, the Katarina from Mali, it is open.
I don't like this. I don't think that Malik should go for the Katarina right now. Garen is going to get picked up, and the Katarina does come in. You know, the Lucian, you put the Lucian down to the bottom lane at this point. That's an easy Lucian Rakan bottom lane here for Tribe. Starting a Max Green, our phenomenal duo. And we've seen Rakan do extremely well with it. Oh, I stand corrected. So it will be starting going up against Mali Uwu in the top lane. And Darius is going to be up against Garen in the, Darius up against Garen in the top lane. And then it's Lucian up against Katarina in the mid lane. This is a very solid draft. Camille Tigers has been phenomenal. We've seen, you know, every one of Tribe's team or Tribe's players have done at one point something exceptional in the tournaments that I've seen them play as. They're extremely active in the community. They play a lot of Wild Rift, and they win a lot of Wild Rift as a team. So starting in Max Green are going to be, I think, you know, Max Green and Old School, I should say, are going to be those champions that you're really going to be expecting to see perform really well in the bottom lane against the poke comp of Corey GG and OGBS. The only issue, the only thing that I'm seeing out of Tribe that I'm not necessarily agreeing with is the lack of AP. It means that, you know, the Wukong is going to build armor regardless. The Garen, who's going to get an extra armor resistance, they're going to be able to really deny some damage coming in from Xayah and from Lucian. The Camille is going to have a hard time, but, you know, they're not worried about it. They were like, hey, let's go, let's make it happen. And we're going to see how well Maliwu plays up against starting in that mid lane. It's a really fun matchup. It's going to be a really exciting game. Let's see who's going to be able to take this one as we get ourselves ready to move into it. It's going to be Tribe Gaming facing off against Brawl Star Pros, looking to win the grand finals of the Wild Rift Copa America in a Northern Latin America tournament. Let's see who's going to be able to take this one.
Should be a good matchup, and holy cow, OGBS is 1 HP already. I was wondering about this, like, how much of an impact are Old School and Max Green going to be having in the 2 versus 2 here? And already we're seeing the Varus under a ton of pressure here. Apologies, I'm having a little bit of difficulty getting our cameras off the screen here. I think that should be resolved in just a moment here. We'll be getting you into the action as soon as possible. You can see it around us at the very least. But that aside, there we go. Okay, we have it fixed. Sorry about that. So already OGBS losing the heal level 1, and now here we have level 2. OGBS could be going down.
What a knock-up. OGBS again. Gonna barely survive a beautiful exhaust coming in from Corey GG. Gonna barely keep PS alive. Look at that play again. You know, Old School being able to just get so much damage with those piercing arrows. Thankfully for OGBS, he does have the honey fruit to be able to get a little bit of health back. But even then, they got to go back again. The CS advantage is going to be there, as we already get to see Tigers picking up the Scuttle Crab in the bottom lane. We get to see Chuck moving forward to potentially go for the Scuttle Crab in the top lane. The priority is there. The early game is coming in for Tribe, like you had said, Vest. That's now going to be up to Brawl Stars to show us that they can really put in the pressure early on. Look at how much damage is already taken onto that tower. Tribe is putting on a clinic in the first 2 minutes.
Unreal. I mean, I was a little bit worried about the bot lane, and I think they're even gearing up for a dive there. This 4 members of Tribe Gaming were had their eyes on Brawl Stars bot lane turret, which, as you said, Moose, is so low already. This is incredible bot lane play here by Old School and Max Green on the Xayah Rakan duo. And meanwhile, yeah, Eric EX trying to respond here, topside invade, at least get a blue buff, get something back, but already about 1,500 gold lead for Tribe Gaming, pretty much just fueled through that bot lane. Right now, Brawler's Glove, Caulfield's Warhammer compared to OGBS, still just sitting on a long sword. It feels bad to be the Varus right now. They've got to be so careful too. Max Green is going to have that knockup available, and especially once level 5 comes around, so much kill threat here.
Yep, Corey GG is going to get knocked up. Old School going to have the feathers ready to go. Not going to pick up the root this time, but again, just picking up the damage. And, you know, because of those early backs coming in, Kabil's going to be able to go for the hook shot in. OGBS is probably dead here, trying to be able to survive. Corey does not have his ultimate just yet. As you do get a little bit of tower dives coming in, the charm is going to come through, and it's going to be first blood going to go towards the blue team. Tribe will end up going down, but Maliuwu trying to be able to get the resets, trying to be able to get the kill on Max Green, will be able to get it, and will be able to escape. Maliuwu, oh my god! He's able to survive, gets 2 kills for the 2 kills that the blue team got. Tribe biting off all that they can, just unable to finish the job.
Yeah, I mean, incredible that they actually put this much pressure on Old School in that dive. This is a Varus with just a longsword, a Janna with just boots, with basically no summoners available. They force Old School to flash right into the waiting arms of a Katarina, and Maliuwu showing off the mechanics as he has throughout the tournament today. Grand finals now, all eyes on the Katarina, showing up huge. 3-2 now for Brawl Stars. They're still down in gold, but they have shown that they can go toe-to-toe with Tribe Gaming in these fights. Now the question is, who will get this Drake? It looks like Brawl Stars have their eyes on it for the time being.
Yeah, Brawl Stars should be able to get this one. Tribe is going to go towards the drag, or go towards, pardon me, going towards the Rift Herald, and Eric EX will be able to get the smite onto the Dragon. But now they're going to be looking to go for the kill on Old School, onto Max Green, and Old School not going to even be able to use Feather Storm, will go down. That's a killing spree from Maliuwu. They're going to be looking to go towards the tower, but unfortunately for Brawl Stars, they lose the tower in the top lane. They give the Rift Herald over to Tigers, who already is looking to push forward, maybe going up against the tier 2 tower. And then on top of that, you've got starting way in the mid lane, not even having any sort of problems so far, going to be able to get the tower to go down, and is looking to be able to get a little bit more. The Chain of Corruption is going to come through from OGBS, as there's a lot of damage on Old School already. The Charm is going to come through onto Corey GG, but Corey GG is able to survive. No, he is not. The Ignite will be enough damage, and now Chuck gets the kill onto Monarch. Overall, a stellar play coming in from Tribe. Their map control is there. Their performance in terms of having the right champions where they need them are being available. And Brawl Stars behind by about 4,000.
Yeah, you know, Brawl Stars just threw everything in the kitchen sink at the bottom lane, and they do take down Old School, and they get some kills in the Katarina, but they sacrifice the entire top half of the map, including mid lane. And then in this fight, the bottom lane, where it's been Brawl Stars continually attacking, they lose their top laner there. They lose 2 in that fight. They dive too far. There's not enough damage to take down Old School. They've now lost 3 turrets. Tribe Gaming are getting everything all over the map. 5,000 gold up, only 6 minutes into the game. I mean, Brawl Stars have a Drake. They've got a couple of kills on the Katarina, but you have to wonder how they are going to play out this game. I mean, sure, Maliuwu is crazy, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Tribe Gaming, the macro play has just been absolutely perfect from them. Even losing the bottom lane, they get everything everywhere else, and then they punish Brawl Stars for overextending bottom lane. Brawl Stars, they still have yet to pick up a turret. They're in a really bad spot right now.
It is a 1,500 gold advantage for Old School on the Xayah against OGBS. A nice advantage there in gold. Looking at the top lane, 5,800 to 4,100 for the Darius against the Garen. And in the jungle, it's a 900 gold lead for Tigers against Eric EX. The only consolation is that you've got a 6,400 gold wealthy Katarina. The richest woman on the Rift is Mali Uwu, up against the Lucian, who has stayed fairly consistent, 0-0-0, but is only about 800 gold behind. It's going to be another tower going down. This time the bottom lane will die and fall. So finally, Brawl Stars getting something out of that. But yeah, I mean, like, you know, Brawl Stars is just going to... They had to play some phenomenal Wild Rift if they want to be able to win this one, if they want to be able to win the Grand Finals. I mean, you know, we're 8 minutes into the game. The objectives are taken. All of the outer towers are now there. And so now Tribe can just focus on running the Rift for the time being until the next dragon spawns. It's just a rough position to be in. It's not impossible for Brawl Stars to come back. I mean, they are behind by about 4,000 gold. The lead has stabilized a little bit there as Old School gets a little bit of damage on to this mid-tier 2 tower. It does look like they will be able to get it. Eric EX going to be able to get the Cyclone, trying to be able to continue to keep it up. But again, the Chains of Corruption this time not going to land. The Featherstorm is going to be there. And it will be a kill on the Monarch as the Rift Herald slams into the interior 2-2 tower. No one dies for Tribe. The Dragon is now up, and it's a 5,000 gold lead.
Yeah, we see the replay in this fight. It's Tribe. They're just able to kite back with the Xayah Featherstorm. They can dodge out on the Cyclone. And I think a little bit of miscommunication here from Brawl Stars. I mean, they're down more gold than they've been down in quite a while. They may not be sure exactly how to play this out. Eric EX went in, and then Monarch went in. There wasn't this big Seraphine Encore, oh, here we go, fight. And this is a little bit of a different look from Brawl Stars. It's not a very good look, unfortunately, for them here in game number 1. In Tribe Gaming, it's nothing absolutely fancy, nothing mind-blowing. It's just very, very smart, cold, calculated Wild Rift that they're playing right now, and they are getting everything with it. It's working for them. It looks like they're going to be cruising to a game 1 victory at this point. Brawl Stars, it's very, very difficult for them to find any way back here. I mean, they've been basically sacrificing objective after objective. That Rift Herald just got Tribe Gaming even further ahead. And Baron in 30 seconds, again, Tribe Gaming, I mentioned before the game, so good at controlling these objectives. Sure, they gave up a Drake to Brawl Stars, but they already got the Ocean Drake. They got the Rift Herald. Now they have their eyes on Baron control. Here they go.
Yep, Corey GG is one dead wind lady, gonna have the wind knocked out of her. As I don't have the jokes for that one. Corey GG just dies, unfortunately. Really nothing else to say. When Tigers is able to use that Hextech Ultimatum, gets the land or gets the click onto it, there's nothing that you can do. She's going to be able to follow you. She goes unstoppable. No way to stop that one. And so Camille, obviously, going to be able to pick up that kill onto Corey GG. That is exactly what you want. Monarch trying to be able to get some damage onto it, but not going to be able to do so. Will end up just dying. My goodness. Starting's going to be able to pick up that kill. Eric EX is going to try to flash away, but it's going to have the dot sticking in on him. Will be able to survive for the time being. But now, Tribe picking up the red buff, picking up the Krugs, picking up potentially the Baron here in this about 11-minute mark here. Mali Uwu is still the richest member of the Rift as he does end up getting hit by that Hextech Ultimatum. No. Does he die out of this one? No! He flashes away for the time being. Max Creed with a nice knockup onto OGBS, and a beautiful heave in coming in from Chuck to be able to secure the kill on to Corey yet again, and this time with the death timer at 20 seconds for Corey GG, and OG and Mali both extremely low. Tribe Gaming is going to pick up the Baron in this fight.
Yeah, you know, you see here, the Chains of Corruption are there, but they're just not able to slow down everybody on Tribe. That's the problem with the Chains of Corruption, is they're a little bit slow to spread. So if you just push full pedal to the metal right away, you can go in, and they find the one person who has any kind of gold on Brawl Stars, Mali Uwu, who has been waiting for an opportunity, but Tribe Gaming have just been gathered as 5 all together with a Camille Darius, full HP. Katarina's like, I don't know what to do here. I can't go in on this. And it looks like, you know, Mali is just AFK, but there's no angle. He's looking for the Katarina angles, and they're not there, and then finally falls to the ultimatum, thinking, yeah, that's why I didn't go in, because that was what was going to happen. It gives Tribe Gaming the Baron, and at this point, I mean, it's
It doesn't
everything
give
but
the Baron.
Sorry, what?
It doesn't give them the Baron. Actually, we saw Brawl Stars
my
able to
mistake,
stop
yeah.
them off. Yeah.
Well, never mind. I was watching a different game. So no Baron, but Tribe Gaming still in a very, very commanding position. Without the Baron, it may not be yet game over for Brawl Stars, but again, it's so difficult for them to find an angle in these fights. You can see Tribe Gaming just taking everything, both the red and blue jungles right now, which really just starves out Area X and feels bad. And this Drake is probably going to Tribe Gaming too, although pings on the Baron. Brawl Stars, they might try to trade here. I think Tribe Gaming might sniff it out.
I mean, this is the play. They got to be able to go for the Hail Mary here. If Tribe is going to go for the Dragon, Brawl Stars has to go for the Baron. They're going to go all in for it. This is the Hail Mary play. They need to be able to get this one. If they lose it, it's most likely game over. We're going to end up seeing Brawl Stars actually going to be able to get Tribe off of it, as we do get a little bit of damage coming through. The Monsoon is going to be able to get the healing onto Monarch, and everybody, a nice play so far, and it is going to end up being the Gary getting the kill onto the Darius. Monarch will end up going down, but Starting will die as well, along with Tigers, along with Max Green. Actually, pardon me, Starting is still alive, trying to be able to get the kill maybe onto anybody. Will be able to get the kill onto, on a Monarch. Starting in Old School, the two marksmen still alive, makes it a 3-for-3.
Yeah, a very chaotic fight. I thought perhaps an angle for Maliuwu there for Brawl Stars potentially does look like the cusp of turning the fight, and I thought Starting overextended because Monarch baited in the Lucian really effectively there. 1 HP, and then he picks up the fruit, forced Starting to Relentless Pursuit in there, but in the end, the Lucian is able to kite away and take down the Garen there, so it isn't total disaster for Tribe, but considering they're down a whole heap of gold, a pretty good fight, all things considered, for Brawl Stars. And once again, we'll wait and see when this Baron does get picked up, if I don't mistakenly believe it was. I think Tribe, they really want to pick that one up, but things have been a little bit dicey in these last couple of fights. They're up 9,000 gold, they're feeling pretty good, but you still have to be careful of the Katarina. I think they've been playing control, they're being careful. They're gonna have to continue to do that and keep their eye on Maliuwu, make sure they don't accidentally stumble and lose a big team fight that could potentially give Brawl Stars an avenue to claw their way back into this game.
I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. This time, Tribe tries to be able to bait out everyone committing over to a Baron fight. This time, it's just going to be Tigers staying in the bottom lane, making sure that they pick up the Cloud Drake, which means it's going to be an Infernal Elder Dragon coming in just a couple of minutes for Tribe to potentially just end the game with. There's still a little bit of time left before that happens. Baron is now up, but it does look like the red team, Brawl Stars, trying to be able to do what they can to defend. I mean, at this point, with the lead being where it's at, I don't know if you go and you defend the towers. Baron is going to be started now, and it does look like Monarch is going to not have teleport this time. And so yet again, Tribe not going in onto the Baron. They want to be able to pick up the kills first. Potentially waiting for Garen to show the teleport. Maybe they don't know if teleport is up or not. But again, they're just looking for a potential kill here. Eric EX is going to be in the area. The Hextech Ultimatum is going to land on OGBS. This is exactly what they want. As we do get a Monsoon, going to be able to keep everyone alive. The Chains of Corruption are going to come in, and now it's going to be Monarch trying to be able to do what he can. Eric EX is going to flash away with the Cyclone. A lot of damage onto Starting as we do get the Katarina reset. Maliuwu is going to get a double kill, but Starting is going to survive. Piercing Arrow is not going to land onto Chuck, trying to be able to get the kill with the Noxian Guillotine on the Monarch, but won't be able to get it.
Man.
A huge play for Brawl Stars. They're going to be able to pick up 4 against Tribe. Maliuwu goes down, but his sacrifice is not in game. You're seeing the pings. They want to be able to go for the Baron, but they are low on health. This could be scary, and they are going to be able to go for it. Starting is in the area. He does have the culling ready to go, and he will use it onto Corey GG, but it won't be enough damage. The Baron will get taken off, and it's a dominating play coming in from Starting as he dodges the Chain of Corruption. Gonna get the 2 kills, and is now going to pick up the 3rd. Oh my god! Sure. Oh my god! Oh my god!
He's insane! He's completely insane. He's a madman. I mean, I knew, hey, he could probably get him off the Baron with the culling, right? And maybe he dies. Nope. He's even full HP now with the lifesteal. Absolutely insane. He kites it out perfectly. He dodges the chains of corruption. Look at this. Just keeping them at arm's length. Gunning down OG, BS, Monarch, and Eric EX. Initially, this was perfect for Brawl Stars. Chuck burns his flash before that fight even started, and then it winds up paying for it, being the last man standing and falling because he can't quite get on them for some more Noxian Guillotine resets. It looked like everything Brawl Stars needed. Maliuwu got the chance to pop off there, but in the end, it was not enough. Starting with the miracle hero play in the grand finals. You love to see it, and it might just earn Tribe Gaming a game number 1 win. They got to take down that Nexus, but things are looking really good.
No, that is disastrous against Brawl Stars. There is, I don't think, a way out of this one now with the Baron up, with the inhibitor towers potentially getting taken. Tigers are going to use his Zone Use Hourglass to be able to get away from the turret damage. And a Coling's going to come through. Eric EX is going to be taking so much damage out of that one as Monarch tries to be able to defend the bottom tower. It's not going to happen. 2 towers are now down against Brawl Stars, and they're going to go in for the engage. Rakan with the charm. It's going to be Mally and Eric going down, and nothing going to stop Tribe Gaming for winning game number 1 here in this grand finals matchup, starting with a beautiful play to finish in game number 1.
Oh man, Clippers, highlight reel, people, everybody, find that clip. That should be everywhere. That is absolutely insane. Just stopping Brawl Stars, who they had one miracle opportunity there to take down Tribe Gaming, or at least get back into this game. They're down so much gold, and starting just says nope and just guns them down. And at the end there, we saw him with the culling once again. 10-0-2 on the Lucian. Starting was absolutely insane in that game, and Tribe Gaming overall playing really well, playing around the Katarina very well. Maliuwu is a excellent Katarina, and yet there was just no opportunity in almost any of these fights for the Katarina to get all those resets. Mali certainly tried, did just about everything you could possibly do, but it just was not enough. And Tribe with a statement win in game number 1 with their mid laner, Maliuwu's opposite, the opposite of the carry of Brawl Stars in most of these games, picking up the Lucian that Mali was so successful with and showing everybody how it's done. Great performance by them, and a shout out to Old School as well. The bot lane duo exerting that pressure very early on really shaped this game in a lot of ways too.
Yeah, I mean, the highlight play coming in from starting is fantastic. It really was. It was really, really good. 10-0-7. Obviously, I mean, Tribe just performing really, really well on different facets of the game. The first dragon goes to Brawl Stars, but then everything else goes towards Tribe. And that just goes to show you, you know, the map control, the communication, the everything that you need to be a top tier team in League of Legends, in Wild Rift, in whatever MOBA that you're trying to play is there for Tribe. They knew exactly what they wanted to do every single point of the game. And in the individual aspects of it, everyone delivered. There is not one player on Brawl Stars that was able to do better than their counterpart. We saw just really, really great performances coming in from Tribe, showing us why they are the winner's side bracket member of this grand final series. Brawl Stars, they took a little bit of a risk playing some different team or a different team comp there, picking up the Garen, picking up the Janna, not having the Lulu, not having the Seraphine, not having the Senna in that fight. They could have potentially gone for it, but you know, they're not able to make it happen this time. Tribe's going to take game 1. There is one more game left to play before Tribe is able to win it, though. They need to be able to win game number 2 in order to take grand finals and to secure themselves the first place prize. Brawl Stars, they still have a chance. They have the opportunity to potentially win this tournament, but they need to play a lot better than what they have done so far. Tribe is a menace so far in this bracket and in this matchup.
Yeah, it's everything you'd expect from Tribe Gaming. Brawl Stars, I think to their credit, they didn't just roll over and die. They were looking for opportunities back in. They found one, and then it was snatched away by starting there in game number 1. So Tribe Gaming, they're up 1-0. This is match point for them. As you said, Moose, they win game number 2. They are the champions of the North America, Latin America North Division here of the MGA Wild Rift Copa America. But Brawl Stars pros, they do have another chance here in this best of 3 series. I'm really curious to see how they will adapt here. I mean, I do think, as you said, it was kind of a different look from them. I was surprised to see the Senna and the Seraphine leak through. You never know exactly. Maybe game number 1, they were just kind of trying something different, seeing maybe if they can catch Tribe Gaming off guard. But you do wonder about the old mantra, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, because the Senna Seraphine seemed so effective for them in so many games. They obviously are really, really comfortable with it, and I think it's fairly easy to execute. As long as you're grouped as 5, it works pretty well. I don't know that it's necessarily going to work against Tribe Gaming, but I feel like it's probably worth a try here to go back to something that has worked for you for so long here for Brawl Stars pros, with their backs against the wall here in game number 2. That would be my thought if I were the coach of Brawl Stars pros. Of course, I certainly am not. And if I were the coach of Tribe Gaming, I'd be pretty happy with that game number 1 overall. Very clean game, and I think they probably have every reason to feel confident as we await to get into game 2. We'll get you news on that shortly, but hopefully, all things willing, we shouldn't be too far away from the draft.
Oh, I don't think we will be either. I mean, again, we've had a really good tournament so far, and Tribe has, or not Tribe, but Mobile Gaming MGA has done some really good work for us. They have been able to keep these teams coordinated. They've been able to get things figured out fairly quickly, and so that hasn't really been that much of an issue moving in through games. It does look like the bans are coming through. Gragas, Ziggs, Lucian, Camille. It is blue side for Brawl Stars in game number 2. They ban out the Lucian. They ban out the Gragas. They leave Tribe to ban out the Ziggs and the Camille. So no big plays coming in from starting on the Lucian in this one, but it means we get to see a different champion for him moving into game number 2. And for Brawl Stars, like, do you keep Mali Uwu on the Katarina, or do you have him go for something different? Do you pick up the Twisted Fate? Do you pick up maybe a Galio in the mid lane, or do you pick up just another all-in champion? Do you pick up the Oriana? Maybe. I have no idea what the play is coming in for Brawl Stars. It could potentially be another really clean sweep game for Tribe, but there's still so much up in the air. Tribe does not have this game and this set completely guaranteed just yet. They've got to be able to win game number 2. But from what we saw in game number 1, they've got the options, they've got the ability, they've got the champion depth available to be able to go for whatever team comp they want to go for. It's going to be a fun matchup, but a very tough uphill battle for Brawl Stars.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you do wonder, of course, for Brawl Stars pros. You mentioned that the key question has got to be, what do you put Mali Uwu on? They did show the opportunity to play through Eric EX, who got a pop off on the Olaf. The Olaf is open this time around, and I wonder if perhaps that's why they strayed away from the Senna Seraphine, if they value Eric's Olaf that much, that they feel that they need that in order to run that comp. They need the Olaf to be able to channel all of that CC and slows all those big teamfight ultimates through. They need the Olaf at the front. They've got the opportunity now, and they are on blue side. They have the opportunity to first pick that Olaf if that's what they want to do, but I'm not sure. Right now, it sounds like there may be a sub coming in top lane for Brawl Stars as well. So that can change things up too. I think Brawl Stars has shown a lot of synergy in some of these team fights earlier in the tournament. Of course, against Tribe Gaming in game number 1, it wasn't quite there. I think they looked a little bit more disjointed, just being so far in the back foot against such an experienced team. It can be really difficult, but I'm really excited to get into the draft on this one, especially with the side swap, because I think there's a lot of different things Brawl Stars pros can do, but I certainly have my eyes on the Olaf. The Lucian banned away makes you wonder what Mali Uwu does want to play, as you mentioned, Moose, and I'm not sure exactly. For me, if I'm the coach, I tell Mali, pick the most comfortable carry that you have. Is that the Katarina? Is that the Aurelia? I don't know. I know we haven't been thrilled about the Katarina, but at some point with your backs against the wall, sometimes maybe falling on comfort is good. And I think if they build the comp a little bit better around the Katarina, I could see it working, but it's really hard to say after game number one. I think there's different directions they can go in,
Mhm.
and I do think it has to be a carry. I mean, I love the Galio pick, but or even a Seraphine mid, but I don't know if Mally is the type of player to pilot one of those champions, at least from what we've seen. It seems like no.
I disagree. I think that you pick Mally's pick in the mid lane last. You see what's still up. You build a comp, and then you build, and then you hope that Mally has a champion. And I think that with the way that we've seen Mally play, I think he's a competent player. He's gonna have different champions available in the mid lane to be able to use effectively. If you build a comp around what Mally decides to go for, if you end up getting into, say, a Twisted Fate, for example, Tribe knows what they have to do to be able to counter it. Tribe also gets the last pick. So if they're confident in having, and keeping the last pick for starting, they might just be able to say, hey, we might as well just wait to see what Maliu's last pick is going to be. But I think, for the rest of Brawl Stars, they've got to be able to get something that's comfortable. You got to look where your weaknesses are at, and you've got to be able to get something that's a comfort pick for them. You want to be able to try to maybe have them be on their best champions. You say, okay, Tribe, let me counter. If my bottom lane goes Xayah Rakan, let me, or as their comfort picks, let me pick up the Xayah Rakan first, and then, let them counter into that one. It's going to be a little bit of a tougher match for the bottom lane, but you give Mally the chance to potentially pick a champion that is going to work out effectively for them moving forward throughout the match. Maybe that's not the best strategy. I don't know these players' champion pools. If Mally only has, I play Katarina, I play Lucian, and then I play Aurelia on the side, that's a different story. Or if, you go into OGBS and you're like, I can only play Varus, or I can only play, Xayah, for example, or whatever other champions. I forget what other champions he's gone for. Then, you have to play around those weaknesses on your team. And that's going to be, another part of that issue that Brawl Stars is going to have to play against in this draft. Tribe has shown that they have the ability to go for whatever comp they want to go for. They can go for whatever team positioning they want to go for. They want to do. They can switch up roles on the fly if necessary. So there's just plenty of opportunities that are going to be available for them. And so game number 2, going to be starting the picks in about 90 seconds or so, maybe a little bit less than that. But Vest, game 1 was really fun, and I'm excited to see how game 2 is going to play out.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm really excited to get into draft here. And I think I'm with you really all the way as far as, we're both talking about Mally Uwu being the big, the impetus there for Brawl Stars pros to try to find a win, to try to come back in this series after game 1. Yeah, without knowing the full champion pool, certainly has shown a number of different champions you can play. And you did rightfully point out, yes, has played the Twisted Fate, which I wouldn't call necessarily the same, I think as we pointed out in the game, the same level of mechanical pop-off, highlight reel kind of play, but looked fantastic on the Twisted Fate, which does feel like more of a facilitator champion. So you're right that potentially I do think that could be something that they want to do potentially is get Mally Uwu in more of a facilitator role, and certainly still looked really good on the Twisted Fate. But it's very hard to say, and you mentioned as well with the side swap, Tribe Gaming having that counter pick, and I think I'm with you on potentially saving that for starting, having the opportunity to counter pick there for your mid laner that just popped off with an incredible performance. I would not be surprised to see them save that, or at least try some of these flex picks that we've seen come through with the opportunity for like a Camille and Lucian that we saw could be flexed around there. It's exactly what they did. It was a masterful draft in game 1 from Tribe where you weren't sure if the Lucian was going bot. The Darius came in late. The Xayah came in late. It was only then that it was clear exactly where everybody was going. And as I say that, of course, a reminder, the bans, Lucian and Camille, the flex picks, both banned away as an adaptation here. And as a reminder, Monarch here coming in as a sub for Brawl Stars. I mentioned who there would be a sub. Monarch is who it is. Monarch from 420 earlier in the tournament gets a chance to play one more time. Let's see what the first pick's going to be here for Brawl Stars.
And that's, I mean, that's a sad day. It does look like it might have been a technical issue or something like that in Brawl Stars top laner, and that's always tough to see. You don't want to have players have to deal with something like that. But you know, with the Olaf still being available, we talked about that earlier. Olaf first pick, obviously here in these fights. So we could potentially be seeing the Seraphine and the Senna come out in our next two draft picks. I think that would be, I think, a good solid choice. Jarvan going to be making an appearance as the Prince of Demacia. Old school with the Corki. Oh man, it's gonna be the Corki coming through. Really, really good performance. I love seeing Corkis come in. Old school has done some work with it. Monarch is gonna be picking up the Malphite. So we are seeing kind of that matchup, that combination that we saw work so well against 420 earlier in the day. Mali Uwu.
There it is.
Oh, we get the mid lane Seraphine. Oh, yes. We're going to find out whether or not it is going to be a good Seraphine in the mid lane. If he's going to be able to be that AP threat champion, we're going to see as we get ourselves into the last couple of draft picks. Aurelia hovered on along with the Garen for Tribe. That'd be a lot of AD for them, but they're going to go for it.
Yeah, they at least have the Corki dishing out a lot of magic damage there. It's not incredible. I mean, with the Lulu, of course, but probably itemizing support, but it's something at least. But I'm really happy to see this. Hey, I was actually somewhat correct about my hopes for what Brawl Stars would do in the draft. Broken clock, right twice a day, right? Olaf first pick into the Seraphine comp, but some adaptations coming through here. So it looks like it is going to be Meliwu on the Twisted Fate once again this time. And the Seraphine Tristana is the bot lane they're going for. This is very bold, in my opinion, for OGBS and Corey GG, because they had a very rough time in the bot lane last time. Tristana usually is somebody that can jump in and lane and go for those all-ins, and this is against the Corki Braum bot lane of Tribe Gaming. So my thought that I was going to suggest was maybe even OGBS go for an Ezreal or something, because that was a real rough lane there in game number 1. I know nobody loves to do it. Nobody wants to say, okay, I'll play the Ezreal, you know, it kind of stinks, but it might have been smart. But Tristana has the opportunity to jump away, so having that escape could be nice, but I'm certainly have my eyes on the bot lane here. Tribe Gaming, you mentioned it, Moose, how good their bot lane has been. Now with a pivot to the Corki Braum combination, we'll see how that plays out for them.
In Old School and Max Green, they played exceptionally well on the Xayah Rakan, and now you've got Braum that's going to be able to stay with Corki and be that tanky man to be able to deny the damage and the kill potentially on to Old School. We're going to see how it plays out, though. That is going to be the bottom line here. And then, you know, the question mark is always going to then be in the top lane, with Monarch being played instead of the original top laner there for the Brawl Stars. We're going to see how well that coordination is going to be. They're going to have to play some exceptional games up there. And on top of that, you know, the Malphite was saying it in the draft, and, you know, it's absolutely correct. This is a scary matchup. Chuck on the Garen is going to, just shred Malphite to pieces. It's going to be Big Sword does beat Rock here in that fight. But we'll see how that plays out. Monarch did play some decent games earlier in today's bracket, but we'll see how he does do. It doesn't look like anything crazy coming in. Maliu going to stick with the fleet footwork on the Keystone for the Twisted Fate here. Other than that, Conqueror going to come in from Old School, so not going for any sort of like Arcane Comet or anything like that. Conqueror coming in from starting along with Tigers, and so very offensive builds coming in from Tribe, wanting to be able to finish the job, win game 2, and win this series in a 2-0 set.
Yeah, and I mean, we can talk for a second here as we potentially have a dive, so I want to wait and maybe possibly hold my point as I sense some action on the way here. Just a cannon minion, I think they're going to back off. Not enough of a wave there, and Jarvan in the area, so good thing they didn't go for that. That could have turned ugly real fast. Now the crab fight, it's going to go the way of Eric EX, and here we have a fight.
Okay, the exhaustion's going to come through. Max Green is going to get rooted, but it's going to be first blood on to Corey GG. Exhaustion's gonna come in on Eric EX, but it's
Oh.
gonna be old school, very low. Aurelia's gonna be able to get a kill on to the Olaf, but it's a double kill. Max Green and old school gonna go down. OGBS is now extremely low. Nice dodge of the stun starting. Going to be able to escape, but it is a kill
They're still
not
looking.
only for Corey GG, it's also going to be a kill on to the Tristana. Starting's going to go down. Maliu Wu picking up that kill.
They find it, they turn it into a 4 versus 2 in this extended fight. Initially, I thought things looked pretty good for old school, but all of the damage from the Seraphine is actually pretty big early on. Supports do a surprising amount of damage in these really, really early fights, and the AoE is just hitting everybody. They're all clumped in that tri-brush, and you've got the Twisted Fate, you've got the Tristana bomb over the top. Everything kind of fell in place for Brawl Stars, and I did want to stop. My point was that they have a substitute, Monarch, coming in. This is disaster in the grand finals for Brawl Stars. They have to play with a sub, so if they can pull out a win here, that is an insane accomplishment. Very, very huge if they can pull that off with a brand new top laner. And here they're looking top. Looks like they're gonna get the flash out of Chuck and maybe look for more.
It's going to be Ragnarok coming in on to Eric EX. Tigers is going to use that Cataclysm, but it's not going to be enough. Starting is now there as the Destiny comes in. Vanguard's Edge not going to be able to get the kill just yet, but the stun coming in onto Starting is going to make it a 1-for-1. Mali Uwu with the Destiny going to teleport in and goes on a killing spree. That is a sub 3 minutes Rod of Ages in the bottom lane. Looks like it's OGBS trying to be able to get a kill on Old School and on Max Green. Old School is extremely low and will barely be able to survive. OGBS unable to get that one. Chuck and Tigers now in the area going to get stunned out by Mali Uwu, and the Ignite is there.
He's
everywhere.
everywhere.
Rampage on the Twisted Fate.
Crazy. Maliu already with 4 kills to his name. Absurd. I mean, regardless of the outcome of this series, what a performance in this tournament from the mid laner of Brawl Stars, who's just showing up. And I'm going to shout out Monarch, too, in the top lane. I mean, these top lane fights have been going the way of Brawl Stars with a substitute top laner. They are fighting tooth and nail here against Tribe Gaming in game number 2. We're going to replay here. They find the Unstoppable Force. They get the flash out of Chuck. And the turn comes through here from Chuck and Tribe Gaming. They say, maybe some miscommunication there. I mean, Chuck is kind of low. He wants the fruit. The Cataclysm doesn't get a lot of use. Starting comes in, but in a 2 versus 3, you think, okay, now we're okay. Destiny in from Maliu. Who else helps turn this one around? They even get a bonus skill on the Jarvan after that. So Tribe Gaming on the back foot right now, and I think Rift Herald probably going to go the way of Brawl Stars as well. Yeah, no jungler in the area. It's just traded for the Infernal Drake there on the bottom side. So again, a trade of objectives, and the special delivery is available for Old School. Gotta watch out for dive potential here. They're gearing up, but no minions just yet.
They still want to go for it, though. I mean, Tigers is in the area. Cataclysm is now available. It is going to end up being the Rift Herald getting picked up by Eric EX. We don't give it over to Maui Uwu. That could have been potentially opportunity. And there's the fight into the package as we get a little bit of damage onto several of these members. Mali Uwu going to try to do what he can. He's going to be able to get the stun on Old School. Old School will end up going down, and now Tigers going to get hit with the turret. Going to try to get out of this one.
Ooh.
Starting is in the area. Will not get the stun as Destiny now gets pushed in. Tigers is low, but there is no way that Maui Uwu is going to go in for the kill on 2. Tigers with the Aurelia, with the Braum in the area. Shout out to the Braum. Max Green going to try to be able to keep everyone alive. Was able to give the defense over to Tigers. Going to be able to keep them alive for the time being. But Maui with the nice Ignite going to be able to be down there and picks up at least a kill, making it a 1-for-2.
Yeah, just the perfect little setup there in that dive. They have the Cataclysm, the Glacial Fissure, and the Special Delivery. And now Monarch, ooh, okay, he dodged the missile. Could still be in trouble here, but I think it's going to smartly back off here. But, excuse me, these two teams dead even right now. I think Tribe are going to pull slightly ahead with that top lane turret. But what a game 2 we have right now. And I'm really excited to see some more of these team fights. We can see the capability, the special delivery cataclysm combination, even comboed with the glacial fissure as well, as I mentioned, that can be very, very effective and may just be enough to stand a chance here against the Seraphine. The Braum with the Unbreakable there, the shield is going to get some mileage out of that too. Up against the Twisted Fate, and the Seraphine can stop some of that damage in CC. So I'm excited to see some more of these team fights. Both of these teams showing some moves early on. 5-0 still is Mali Uwu, continue to wrap up gold. 7,500, about 1,000 up the next closest member, which is Old School on Tribe Gaming. So Mali Uwu does have the gold. Question is, can they this time make it a translate into a victory for Brawl Stars, as they have previously in the tournament, but Tribe Gaming is a whole different animal.
But starting does end up going down in the bottom lane, does pick up a Sheen and an extra long sword out of that fight, but Eric EX going to be able to go 1-3-3, finally going to get on the board with some gold and a kill. But you were saying it correctly, and I think that is, I think, the big play here coming in from Mali Uwu playing onto the Twisted Fate. Yet again, he has assumed the role of the dominant player here on Brawl Stars. He is 5-0 and run, picks up the Rod of Ages, picks up the Lich Bane, and is now halfway through getting that rapid fire cannon for the third item here in this fight, or in this game. Can he deliver, though? He's got to go up against the Wombo combo of Tribe Gaming, and, you know, we saw it kind of come into effect in that last little fight. We've got a Cloud Drake spawning in about 30 seconds, as both teams now look to potentially pick up a couple of extra items, couple of Gargoyle Stone Plates. Actually, 3 Gargoyle Stone Plates coming through from Tribe. They want the shielding. They want the defense against some of these hyper carries coming through from Brawl Stars. And they deliver. As we get the package ready to go, the combo is now potentially online for Tribe. Will they be able to make it happen as the Dragon now spawns?
Yep, could have a 5v5 here. They're looking. Here they go.
And it's going to be the Cataclysm, not going to get anyone as the package comes through. A lot of damage going to come in on to Braum. Braum's going to go down. Chuck is now going to be trying to be able to do what he can. It's going to be a 1-for-1, a 2-for-1. Maui Uwu's going to dominating. Wants to be able to get out of this one, but will not be able to survive this time. And so it will end up being a 3-for-2 in favor of Tribe. OGBS does still have his rocket, what is that called? The rocket, or not rocket, a buckshot going to be available. Going to not try to be able to get away. Will be able to do so. Tigers is going to pick up the dragon. Maui Uwu trying to be able to do more than what he can. Ends up going down. Makes it a 3-for-2. And Tribe picks up the dragon.
Yeah, so I was thinking here, who exactly do you want a gold card if you're Mali Uwu? The only target really is Old School. Everybody else, it's kind of like, they're big tanks, and you mentioned they all got gargoyles right now. So special delivery doesn't get too much right now. It's not a perfect combo, but it's enough to buy some time. And just these big, beefy tanks coming through from Tribe Gaming are just able to walk forward, take all the damage. And yeah, Mali Uwu, he does go for the Corki there, but it's at the cost of his life. And giving over a shutdown as well to Tribe Gaming. So finally, Tribe now pulling ahead in this game. Match point for them. They're starting to feel pretty good. And I think maybe have found, for the first time in this tournament, have found a real effective way to play against some of these Seraphine comps with just a bunch of tanks that just take a little bit of damage and then walk forward and take down everybody. But certainly far from over here. It's only a 2,000 gold lead. Tribe Gaming, they need more to advance. Brawl Stars, they've got to find some way to claw back a little bit more of a lead here. Still all the gold on Mali Uwu and all the eyes on Mali Uwu here in the grand finals to make some plays happen.
All right, they're going to try to go up against Starting. Starting's going to flash away, but it will end up being Eric EX and Maui being able to pick up that kill. Tigers is going to get ignited and will get knocked up with the Unstoppable Force. Nicely done coming in from Monarch.
He's alive!
But he will survive. We are going to see the Destiny come through. Tigers gonna survive again. Unbreakable. Gonna be able to keep him alive, but Eric EX will secure the kill onto the Braum. Max Green will go down, and now it's gonna be Brawl Stars going towards the Baron. Chuck is in the area, but they are a very healthy four-man combination with Monarch now on the way. They should be able to pick up the Baron here. Oh, maybe not. Tigers is in the area. This could be scary. Whoever gets this Baron could potentially be the winner of this game as the package comes through. Cataclysm gonna get 4 as they get a double kill, a triple kill for the Corki. It's a quadra kill. It's a penta kill for Old School on the Corki. Tribe getting the ace.
Old School does it. He gets it done. Chuck bought some time. Old School packages in with a special delivery. He gets the pentakill in the grand finals here of the Copa America. And Tribe Gaming, they're hitting the Nexus.
This is game. This is game.
There's no time.
Oh my God. Oh, wow. What an amazing play coming in from Old School. Great performance. Let's see it again from start to finish. Vest, walk us through what happened here. Disaster.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like disaster initially for Tribe Gaming. Starting goes down without a fight. They're getting a pick. It's exactly what you want to do with a Twisted Fate. But T-Tigers, he's still alive. It's amazing how long he survives. The Brawl actually gives his life for the jungler, and I thought maybe that would come in, that maybe there'd be a smite steal, but this seems like a smart Baron play, right? They think, oh, we got the advantage here, and at the end of the day, Chuck goes in. Yeah, here we go. So now we get to see it. So Chuck just buys enough time with the Garen, gets them to stay on the Baron. All the resistance is shredded. The health bars are low. Huge cataclysm there from T-Tigers to set things up. And Old School just comes in, firing missiles away, guns everybody down. I mean, it's World War I ace Red Baron right there for Old School, just dropping bombs on everybody. Absolute insanity from the AD carry of Tribe Gaming, and a superb performance to finish off the grand finals. Tribe Gaming are your Copa America, North American and Latin American North Division champions. They're taking home a whole lot of cash.
Yep, that is a 500 gold or $500 prize coming through for Tribe Gaming. Brawl Stars, a valiant effort though. Shout out to everyone coming through. And I mean, Monarch played decent on the Malphite, just wasn't able to continue to keep it going. And you know, a great pentakill coming in from Old School. You don't deny the pentakill, but it was a group effort coming in. Tigers with an amazing cataclysm. Max Green, because Max Green was able to keep Tigers alive, that is the reason why that fight actually was able to happen. Tigers with the ability to go for smite, they have the ability to go in and deny the Baron and go in for a beautiful cataclysm. It grabs 4 members of Brawl Stars, and that is disastrous. Coming in when you are a team that wants to be able to spread out yourself to then get everyone coming into, or get everyone clumped up together on Tribe to then be able to get that nice multi-man knockup from Monarch on that unstoppable force. When you are locked into walls, Corey GG can't land that great encore. Monarch can't get that unstoppable force. I think he even had to use it to escape. It just didn't work out for Brawl Stars. But again, you know, really, really solid performance. They almost had the game, and it was even. It was even moving into the 9-minute mark. Unfortunately, just a couple of bad plays into that pentakill for Old School will end up securing the kill for Tribe, and the game for Tribe. Really, really nicely done. First place finish going to come through, but again, a really fun tournament and a great set of games.
Absolutely, yeah. Welcome back to our analyst desk, where we can break down the victory perhaps here for a moment or two. We are going to be winding down here now that we have hit the end of the division. It's not the end of the whole event. We still have one more day tomorrow. Latin America South and Brazil finals will be tomorrow. Should be some good games, but you of course have to feel a little bit bad for Brawl Stars here. Technicalities forcing them to have the substitute there in Monarch, but they really kept neck and neck with Tribe Gaming the whole time. I think a performance they can be proud of, but Tribe Gaming as well, even in game 1 against the full roster, they looked pretty clean. They looked superb here. In game number 2, what a perfect cherry on top for Old School to get the pentakill to finish off the game, and for Tribe Gaming to finish things off. So Tribe Gaming, they are the champions fought their way all the way through the Copa America here to take home the prize. And it was a lot of fun to watch them, and a lot of fun to watch the entire tournament, particularly today. Our last couple of series have been some absolute bangers. Absolute pleasure to cast these with you, Moose. I had a lot of fun.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, Brawl Stars, they got out of winners bracket in the very first round of winners bracket. They fell short to Celestials, and they fought their way back through the entirety of the losers bracket, defeating every other one of their opponents to be able to get themselves into this grand finals. They indeed had a losers run, a marathon, a sprint, legs for days coming in from Brawl Stars to be able to get themselves to that point. It was a ton of fun as well to be able to cast for you, Vestberger. If you guys would like to, please follow Vestberger on Twitter. Please follow me on Twitter at Mr. Moose Cast.
Oh, yeah.
I want to shout out as well the Mobile Gaming Association coming through with us here in this in this tournament. The Copa America tournament would not be here without them. Shout out to Anihi playing as our producer, Cali Life, and the rest of the group there at MGA being able to come in. But yeah, a really fun tournament there, Vest. It was a ton of fun to be able to cast for you guys. Kind of bounced off of each other, back and forth the action here in the Wild Rift scene. But that is going to do it today for the show. Any final thoughts there, Vest, or are we good to go?
I do believe we are good to go. Tribe Gaming are good to go as your champions for the day. I had so much fun. Thanks to all the team's viewers, and of course, you Moose doing a tremendous job casting, especially some of these. Man, marathon fights lasted like 2 minutes. Man, you're a major trucker to get through those, and I had a absolute blast. We're not done, of course. We're gonna be back tomorrow, but for today, I do believe that'll do it. I think we'll see you guys next time, unless you have any final thoughts, Moose.
Nope, not at all. So I'll close this out on behalf of our players, all the coordinators, the staff at MGA, our producer Anihi, and myself and Vestberger. This has been the MGA Copa America North American, Latin American North Wild Rift Tournament. Congratulations to Tribe. Have a great Saturday, a great afternoon, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow for more exciting Latin America South Wild Rift action. Have a great afternoon and take care.